Affectionately known as the Big A, Aqueduct Racetrack in South Ozone Park, New York, where the New York Stallion Series continues today. Why is that important? Now, here's what you need to know. Some very young prospects are running for a lot of money. 2 stakes races, each worth $500,000, and the first is just moments away. And in Hot Springs, Arkansas, Oaklawn's exciting Saturday program. Main event is the first running of the Tinsel Stakes. All eyes on Lone Rock. 8-5 morning line favorite, classic rags to riches story, claimed for $40,000. He has banked more than $720K since. So glad you could join us on America's Day at the Races. Brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Apprentice jockey Alyssa Morrison won her first race in the U.S. yesterday aboard. Cover photo, a day she won't soon forget. So what will we see on this afternoon? Welcome, everyone, to Aqueduct Racetrack. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. As mentioned, the first of 2 stakes races worth $500,000 is just around the corner. 2-year-olds. It's all part of the New York Stallion Series and part of a terrific Saturday afternoon of racing right here on America's Day at the Races. Let's take a look at the schedule, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. Racing from Aqueduct and Oaklawn, 2-year-olds on the track for the Great White Way. Post time in just a few moments. Female equivalent is the 5th Avenue in just over an hour. 7 races from Oaklawn Racing Casino Resort included aforementioned inaugural running of the Tinsel Stakes. So I welcome in my co-host, Aqueduct's all-time leading jockey, Richie Migliori. Richie, let's start with this New York Stallion Series. What's this series all about? Why does it exist?
Well, it's really to celebrate the stallions in the state of New York. So you don't have to be a New York bred per se. The majority of these horses are, but you have to be by a stallion that stood in the state of New York at time of conception. So you have, in the first division, you have Stardat Pot is actually a Florida bred, but he's by Trinenberg, who was standing at Rock Ridge Stud when the mare conceived the foal. He's been since sold to stand in Uruguay, but that's why he's eligible for this, because he's by a New York Stallion. In the second division, your favorite, Morning Matcha, is a Pennsylvania bred. She's by Central Bank, who stands at McMahon of Saratoga Thoroughbreds, very successful New York sire. And years ago, I won a division of one of these races with a mare called Jersey Girl, who wound up being a multiple Grade 1 winner, but she was by Belong to Me, who stood in the state of New York. So we kind of got a base on balls there.
You have to read the fine print. Again, the New York Stallion Series will be following this all afternoon with the 2-year-olds at 2 stakes races worth $500,000. Looking forward to this one, the 37th running of the Great White Way. That is coming up next. We promise you'll see it live, but not before we take a quick time out. When we return, America's Day at the Races continues from Aqueduct and Oaklawn. You'll see the 2-year-olds in the paddock. Maggie's Paddock Report. First of 2 $500,000 stakes races when we come back. Just getting started on America's Day at the Races.
DeMarchelier offers breeders a rare opportunity as the only son of emerging sire of sires, Dubois, standing in Kentucky. His picture-perfect pedigree includes 10 Grade 1 winners under the first 3 dams. Dubois and his sons and grandsons at stud have established stars on both turf and dirt. Now his first foals have arrived. DeMarchelier, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Ripped and don't.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Jonathan, can you hear me? Jonathan, for anybody who can hear us, we have a dark monitor. We need our Aqueduct feed on the top monitor. All we have is program. Can you hear me, Jonathan?
I got you. Love you, buddy. Bye.
New York City. Welcome back, everyone. You're watching America's Day at the Races. Temperature dropped about 20 degrees overnight. As always, coverage brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Get started at nairabets.com or download the app. Back in time for the first New York Stallion Series stakes race, but we do have a delay in the paddock. More on that in just a moment. Updated odds, 2-year-old sprinting 7/8 of a mile. Current favorite drawn inside Unique Unions at 6-5. We're showing 3 minutes to post, but we do have a delay. For more on that, we welcome in Maggie Wolfendale, New York Racing Association analyst. Maggie, what's going on with these 2-year-olds?
Well, with Unique Unions, we are seeing him receive a shoe repair to his right front as he did pull his shoe. They're having to reapply the shoe yet once again. We do have our attending blacksmith here in the paddock, Joe Campbell. He is on it. He is he's gotten the shoe back on. So now Unique Unions, your current favorite, will have the tack put on him. Now, as a 2-year-old, only his third start, he handled all that quite well. So it's not as if it's flustered him or anything like that. He looks good, and as I have said and reported on in the past, this guy was eased in his first start because he actually crossfired. So when a horse switches leads, they switch in front, and sometimes they won't switch behind. That's what happened. That's why Jose Lascano pulled him up. Since then, he's had chiropractic work done to correct that behind, to get him moving, and it evidently showed in his last performance. He's the speed from the rail, as we'll see what he does here in this New York Stallion Series Great White Way.
Welcoming our viewers on Fox Sports 2. A very gloomy afternoon at Aqueduct Racetrack in South Ozone Park, New York. America's Day at the Races. Live coverage continuing week 2 of the winter meet at the Big A alongside champion jockey Richie Migliori. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. Today is the New York Stallion Series. We're looking at 2 stakes races for 2-year-olds, one for the boys, one for the girls, each worth $500,000. Richie, let's start with the series and why it exists. What's it all about, this New York Stallion Series?
Look, it's to celebrate the stallions in the state of New York. The vast majority of these horses are registered New York breds, but you have 2 notable exceptions. Sturdett Pot in the opener in the Great White Way division is a Florida bred, but he by Trinenberg, who was standing stud at Rockridge up in Hudson, New York, before he was sold to Uruguay. So at time of conception, he was by a New York Stallion. Then you go to the favorite in the second one, Morning Matcha. She's by Central Banker, who stands at McMahon Thoroughbreds Saratoga. And she's a Pennsylvania bred, but by a New York Stallion.
And running for some serious money in both editions. The Great White Way is coming up shortly, both worth $500,000. Our schedule brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm, the racing from Aqueduct. Also, Oaklawn, 7 races you'll see. It's sloppy. It's rained all morning. Tinsel Stakes, inaugural running with a $200,000 purse. All coming your way on this exciting Saturday afternoon of racing from Oaklawn and Aqueduct. The New York Stallion Series Great White Way is next. We had a delay in the paddock. Unique Unions was the favorite, 8-5. You'll see him shortly. A shoe repair, is that anything to be concerned about, Richie?
I really don't think it is, especially if a horse handled things well. It didn't look like it made him upset or made him nervous at all, and that's another one of the safety protocols in place. They have a blacksmith on call in the paddock for a situation like this.
Got to be the shoes. Unique Unions. Maybe it was the shoes in his last race, the way he performed it right here at Aqueduct. Unique Unions. Look at Bustin Pietra taking off, revving his engines.
Yeah, ran against Senbei last time, was second best. Senbei would be probably even money here.
Runner-up in the notebook, Bustin Pietra right here last month, 9-1, aggressive. Is that him or is that Kendrick Carr? I'll ask you that. We'll follow that up in a moment. There's the favorite, Unique Unions, quick gelding drawn inside with Manny Franco. Yeah,
got things straightened out after kind of a disastrous first start and really ran well last time, but he's under the gun from the rail.
The morning line favorite is overlaid, 6-1 now, Masetta.
Masetta looks more like a turf horse to me. Barry Schwartz, the owner, breeder. It's a $500,000 race, taking a chance to see if he likes the dirt, but I think he's a very talented turf runner.
Number 4, Cephalo's Mission, still a maiden.
Still a maiden, has some speed, should be close.
14-1 would be a surprise. Does have the services of Jose Ortiz. Number 5, Hot Stepper, would be a bigger surprise.
Yeah, he would be a big surprise. He's been slow into stride in both his starts and just hasn't shown a lot.
Gino, number 6, first career race on dirt.
Yeah, trying the dirt for the first time with much more of a turf pedigree.
Have a chance to see Gino. Still looking at Cephalo's Mission and Jose Ortiz. Unique Union's the favorite, 9-5. I promise you'll see the rest of these 2-year-olds in this great white way division of the New York Stallion Series. Nice long look at Safalo's mission. They'll be sprinting an extended sprint, 7/8 of a mile. I lied. You're not going to see the rest of the post parade, but you will see Richie. The favorite once again, Unique Unions, with Manny Franco, who was pulled up, vanned off in his debut, and Maggie was explaining earlier in the paddock that he was crossfiring in that debut, and the reason he was vanned off. What does that mean? What is crossfiring all about?
Well, we talk a great deal about horses changing leads, and we always focus on the front legs. And it's very easy to discern when a horse is on his left lead and leading with that left foreleg, and then when he gets over his right lead. But what people don't know is they have to change their leads behind as well. And sometimes when a horse is struggling with a weak hind end or a hind end issue, they don't catch up. Their hind end doesn't catch up with their front end. They start hitting their hooves, their front hooves, their back hooves. But Maggie talked about it. He got chiropractic work. Rick Schosberg, a terrific horseman, made sure that they got him straightened out. Even though he was eased, he had to go through the protocols to get okayed to race again to make sure he was healthy enough to do so. And I think he showed how healthy he was with a resounding victory here.
Quick turnaround in his second career start you're looking at right here, November 20th. Unique Unions, who battled for the lead, made the lead, and as you can see, draws off with authority.
He was very good here. He's going to have pressure, though. He's going to have to deal with intense pressure, and I think that mainly comes from the two, Bustin Pietra.
Number 9, you're looking at Iron Lion in Zion. Why were you so impressed with his maiden victory, his first career win in his second career start?
I love when a horse shows the ability to overcome adversity, and he overcame adversity at several different turns. I think he gets a lot of pace in here to run at. He showed speed on debut. All good horses have speed. How they learn to use it. Keep an eye on the one horse, Lafitte, and watch the hard left he's going to make. Horses, young horses.
Where are you
going? Like water, flow to empty space. Dylan Davis had to steady him, get him straightened out into a rhythm. He's last early, and now just come to quarter pole. He had to jump heels here to come out around the horse. Now in the green, he's going to come out the split horses, but you're going to get bumped here. Horse leans on him. Loses his balance a little bit. Once he got balanced out, he took off again. If he would have finished second or third here, you would have said, wow, what a nice run. The fact that he continued on and won. Now, I understand the last furlong was a little bit slow. The race came apart a bit. But this horse showed a lot of guts, a lot of determination, and I think he gets a lot of pace to run at. I like him here. I think he's a player.
Trained by Tom Morley. Maggie Wolfendale's husband, Maggie. A, good luck. B, about a long shot on the outside. Unoho at 21-1.
Yeah, I'm a little interested in Unoho. Got to work on my Spanish, but he's named quite literally as he does only have one eye. As he's kind of my long shot in here. I loved his maiden breaking score down at Delta Downs around 2 turns. He just swooped by the field literally under wraps. So he's a horse that wants a little bit more ground. I think he's interesting coming in here for Tony Dutcher. Loved the way he moved over this Aqueduct course, and I think he'll appreciate the bigger configuration of Aqueduct. My pick, though, was number 8, Stir to Pot. Ran against far better horses down at Churchill and finishing second. He looks like a dirt sprinter. Lafitte?
That Pot. You mentioned Unoho, the long shot on the outside. We're all set for the New York Stallion Series. Great White Way, 2-year-old sprinting 7/8 of a mile. The favorite drawn inside Unique Unions. Final check of the tote board reading 8-5 at post time. Chris Griffin with the call, the co-feature from the Big A.
Unoho to complete the lineup. Backs away. All in line. All set. And they're off. Unique Unions has speed. From in between horses, there's Gino, Kenner towards the outside, and also Bustin Pietre in the early mix. Unique Unions with a neck in front. Bustin Pietre is tracking now in the third spot. Gets passed by Kenner to the outside. Plenty of pace on. Then comes the Purple Silks. That's Stirred at Pot is in the fourth position. Following that one is Gino in fifth. To the far outside there comes Un Ojo, is going to track into the 6th position. Following that one comes Maceta. In between horses there is Iron Lion and Zion. Another gap of 5. Back to Hoboken Jack, who is making up some ground here with Hot Stepper in the trailer. Safalo's Mission on the front end. Unique Unions has a neck in front of Kenner, who applies the pressure right to the outside in 2nd. Bustin' Pietres tip out wide here with a rally from 3rd. Gino's got some run down towards the inside in 4th. Real wide rally here for Sturdad Pot. From the back, Un Ojo is trying to rally on with Iron Lion and Zion. The rest with a lot of running to do. It's still Unique Unions 46.48 for a half-mile time in hand with a quarter-mile left to go. Unique Unions at the top of the stretch. Kenner continues to chase this leader. Here comes Gino, who's in the clear. Gino is coming after this leader, who hugs the rail. Unique Unions, Gino, and here from the outside is Un Ojo. Un Ojo's got a rally. Gino in between horses. Unique Unions down towards the inside. They approach the 16th. Gino's put ahead in front. Here is Un Ojo. Un Ojo to the outside of Gino. Gino is very game. Gino gets the win. Un Ojo right to the outside in 2nd. Then came Unique Unions in a late rally from Hot Stepper in 1 minute, 25.88 seconds.
Resolute. Gino in the Great White Way division of the New York Stallion Series, able to repel the late charge of Longshot, who Maggie had some positive things to say about pre-race. Un Ojo, top of the stretch here. Unique Unions, Richie, I thought he was gone.
Yeah, but he had taken some heat early. The pace was pretty strong for a 7-furlong race, and he ran hard, ran all the way down to inside the 16th pole, fighting for it. Here comes Gino, horse with much more of a turf pedigree, although he's by Big Brown, winner of the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. It looked like Un Ojo had his measure, but Gino was resolute. He fought all the way to the wire and outgamed Un Ojo, making his first start against New York Bred Company.
Another look, deep stretch, Unique Unions. That 7/8 right about here starts to tire with Manny Franco, and creeping into the picture, Gino wearing him down, and Gino having to hold off the late charge of Un Ojo. And again, that wasn't Un Ojo, in my opinion, coming up flat late. That was Gino just digging in and fighting him off.
Gino fought for it. He wasn't the other, that the 11-horse Un Ojo hung. It was that the 6-horse Gino put his head down and fought hard. And every time I see that name Gino, I think of my friend John Kruger. Everybody calls him Gino.
Gino, somewhere, Kruger with a big smile on his face. Big smile for David Donk as well, winning trainer. Jorge Vargas, the winning rider. Gino in the New York Stallion Series 611-1-5. When we return, our first look at Oaklawn Racing Casino Resort. Exciting Saturday program rolls on America's Day at the Races. Stay tuned.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Solomini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it. The champ is back.
Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
This is the horse.
Is just too good.
This is the horse who became only the second champion 2-year-old to win the Travers in 3 decades. This is the horse who is the only Breeders' Cup juvenile hero ever to lift the Belmont Stakes. History-making brilliance. That's his essential quality. Essential quality. This is the horse. Just imagine.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. Flag on the field. Following this New York Stallion Series, Great White Way in deep stretch involving the top two finishers, Inquiry Objection, Gino and Un Ojo. Richie, what'd you see in the stretch?
Well, it looked like as they were coming down closer to the wire, the 11-horse Un Ojo kind of drifted in to get close to the eventual first-place finisher under the wire, the 6 Gino. And then Gino took a step out after Un Ojo had gotten down to him. So I don't know if they're going to look at it and say, well, he came down to him first, and then the other horse took the step out. But it looked like he's going to go by at this point. But then they do make contact, which wasn't as apparent on the pan shot. When we look at the head-on, you'll get a better idea of what we're talking about.
Right on cue, Richie. Take us through the head-on.
Yeah, you see now. So they turn into the stretch. Gino is rallying up. Un Ojo is towards the outside with the white face. You can see the white shadow roll just inside of him under left-handed pressure. Jorge Vargas. Now they're going to come down. They're going pretty straight at this point. Keep an eye on the track between them. This is where Un Ojo goes down to him. He straightens up. Now this horse comes out into him astride. Are they going to rule it 50-50? Are they going to rule that he came down to him first and then they made contact? Two rooms you want to stay out of, the courtroom and the operating room, because you never know which way it's going to go, and add the steward's room, too.
Change or no change? Quick. You think?
My personal opinion, no change.
Down to Maggie.
Well, I just caught up with a jockey aboard Un Ojo in Trevor McCarthy, and he said, you know, he is such a big horse that getting knocked like he did interfere his run because he just easily got knocked off stride. He's not a handy horse that can just quickly recover. Now, I've seen the stewards with similar situations make no change here, but it was a narrow defeat by a little more than a head. So we'll see what they do here, though. I will say that both horses have exited the winner's circle. Lafitte?
Maggie, thanks so much. No change. No change in the Great White Way division of the New York Stallion Series, 6-11-1-5. Your son, Joseph, is the agent of jockey Trevor McCarthy. You'll have to let me know when he texts you and what he says in terms of the decision following the stretch drive.
I think it was one of those things where Un Ojo went down to him. He came out a step, 50-50. It's racing. It happened. And I agree with Maggie. They don't tend to take those down here.
So that's how we start the show here at Aqueduct, about 1,300 miles southwest Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. 3 races down, 7 to go. We'll see the field for the 4th in a post parade. These are 2-year-olds at Oaklawn. And we'll start with the 1 here, $30,000 maiden claimer, 1 mile wet track. You're looking at Combat Medal, and Giovanni Franco riding for Steve Asmussen. Franco's agent is doing a very good job, Gary Stevens.
Well, getting him in the right kind of outfits. You want to ride for Hall of Famers like Steve Asmussen. Horse has a good advantageous inside post.
Glissado has not been close in 4 races to date.
He's going to have to really improve, and he's tried 2 turns before.
Run Quietly, number 3, 13-1, would be the second winner this afternoon for Run Happy. The sire, Run Happy Colt, drops in class, a first time in a claiming race.
Well, think about the Run Happies. They've been running further distances. They're very efficient movers. I like this horse stretching out.
Exit, first after the claim, Norm Cash.
Yeah, it was claimed last time. Norm Cash did Norm Cash. Is going to have to improve off of that effort.
La Flecha, pictured first after the claim, Randy Morse.
Yeah, claim for 15, moves up, but at least he's been running competitive figures.
Luis Contreras aboard. Number 6, Galactic Empire. Blinkers, Lasix, class drop.
Yeah, precipitous drop in class from that maiden allowance all the way to a maiden 30. That's a big drop.
Softer Company, currently 9-2 from a morning line of 12-1. Number 7, Popster, and Toby Keith's homebred, a 4th in all 3 starts thus far.
Yeah, and he's run competitive figures. He's too big a price for this company. I think he's a player.
Colt to beat, Pure Rocket, bet accordingly. Odds-on favorite for Laurent Giroux. Brad Cox won 2 races yesterday with 2-year-olds.
It's like deja vu all over again.
And on the outside, India Tiger for legendary trainer, Hall of Famer, Nick Zito.
Yeah, this horse is going to have to improve and doesn't get a great draw either. You wide, short run of the first turn.
2-year-olds in the 4th at Oaklawn on a muddy track. $30,000 maiden claimers. Post time in about a minute. Hall of Fame jockey Gary Stevens is with us, standing by at Oaklawn. Gary, this is just a maiden claimer for 2-year-olds. But what about the main event a little bit later on, the inaugural running of the Tinsel Stakes? Why should our viewers be excited about this one?
Well, I'll tell you what, things are kicking off heated right off the bat. Brad Cox has set a seasonal, all-time seasonal earnings mark over Chad Brown that stood for a long time, and Steve Asmussen is just $400,000 behind him. They're going to mix it up all afternoon. They're competing against each other 4 different times today, topping it off with the Tinsel. They've both got to go against the 2 hot horses of Robertino Diodoro and Lone Rock and Thomas Shelby. Asmussen has tenfold in there. Warriors Charge for Cox, but we're kicking it off in the first race here. It's been a wild morning, guys. We had thunder, lightning, heavy rain. The track was listed as sloppy, muddy now, and we're set up for a good stake race in the 9th race with the Tinseltown. Guys?
Gary, thanks so much. Richie, look at those numbers. Those figures, like video game numbers here and coming right down to the wire for Brad Cox and Steve Asmussen.
It's just incredible. You know, there was a time when the leading jockey in the country would have infinitely more amount of earnings than the leading trainer in the country. That is flip-flop now that guys have multiple divisions, horses in all different places, hundreds of horses they train. And this is going to go down to the wire between these two to the end of the year because Steve Asmussen has so many horses in so many jurisdictions. Brad Cox does as well, maybe not as many as Steve, but it's just a phenomenal feat by both of these guys, and this is going to have a big say in who's the Eclipse Award-winning trainer.
No question. Loaded barns, each with incredible years. Brad Cox, all the stakes wins, Grade 1 victory. Steve Asmussen becoming the sports or North America's all-time leading trainer this summer at Saratoga. A story to follow the final couple of weeks here in 2021. So on this Saturday at Oaklawn, Gary touched on the Tinsel Stakes a little bit later on with a $200,000 purse. These 2-year-olds, $30,000 maiden claimers, 1 mile in the mud, and Brad Cox with the heavy favorite here, Richie, 3-5, number 8, Pure Rocket.
And it just seems like when he reaches out for Florent Giroux, his main go-to guy, these horses are ultra live. We saw him win with a couple yesterday, reaching out to Florent, filly that had been running at Indiana Grand, just like this horse has. And this horse dropping in class as well. Has speed, should work out a good trip. I'm a little bit interested in the Run Happy, more drawn towards the inside, the 3 Run Quietly. I think this horse is going to stretch out effectively. A lot of the Run Happies have a physicality that kind of points out that they can get more distance.
For Ingrid Mason, Muddy Waters Stable on this afternoon, why not? In the mud at Oaklawn, Run Quietly. Can he defeat the likes of Pure Rocket, who is the heavy favorite for Brad Cox? We're about to find out. Post time for the 4th. Big Stoffer with the call. 4th race live, Oaklawn Park.
The last horse to load will be India Tiger. Working with number 4, Exit. Not quite ready. Exit is in. India Tiger last to load. They're at the post. They're off. Good start for Glissado from the inside. Pure Rocket could be wide if he doesn't take back. Meanwhile, at the rail, Combat Medals on the move. La Flecha and Popster. Pure Rocket is very wide at the clubhouse turn. Then comes Galactic Empire, followed by Exit and India Tiger, and the early trailer is Run Quietly. To the backstretch with Glissado and Combat Medal 1-2. Glissado ahead in front. Combat Medal is second by a length and a half to La Flecha and Popster. Then comes Galactic Empire, and just inside of Galactic, just outside of Galactic Empire, is Pure Rocket, who might lose ground on the second turn as well. Pure Rocket's on the move. 3 lengths further back to Exit, then comes India Tiger, and Run Quietly is still the trailer. Past the half-mile pole, finish line is the 16th pole, and Glissado trying to go all the way. It is Glissado, a length and a quarter in front of La Flecha, a 4-wide Pure Rocket. Popster just inside of him. Combat Medal drops back, passed by Galactic Empire. Then Run Quietly and Exit with India Tiger. They run around the far turn, and here comes a 4-wide Pure Rocket, but about to be joined by La Flecha through from the inside, who rides the rail, and Galactic Empire. Everything changed. Top 3 are La Flecha, Galactic Empire, and Pure Rocket between horses, and Galactic Empire has now taken the lead. La Flecha battles on. Pure Rockets in deep water. He back to third. Might not do any better than third. Galactic Empire and La Flecha. These are the two. Galactic Empire half length. La Flecha is second. Pure Rocket is third. Galactic Empire in front. Galactic Empire beat La Flecha, Pure Rocket, and Glissado.
You've heard of the phrase in racing, jumped in at the quarter pole? Our SNY viewers just jumped in at the quarter pole. Welcome to America's Day at the Racing. You just saw the fourth race at Oaklawn Park and Galactic Empire graduating. First career win in his third career start alongside champion jockey Richie Migliori. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. Richie, how did Galactic Empire put it all together today at a price?
Well, he was dropping from maiden allowance races, going 7 furlongs around 1 turn, to a maiden 30, going 2 turns for Hall of Famer Wayne Lucas, who's been training winners for well over 50 years now.
The man who revolutionized the art of training. When you hear that, what does that mean, Wayne Lucas, in terms of how he changed the art of training thoroughbreds in North America?
Well, before Wayne started changing things up, most guys had 40 to 50 horses in one barn in one jurisdiction. Wayne started the multiple divisions. He started shipping horses. D. Wayne off the plane was the big slogan in the 80s, where he would ship horses in and out of New York or California or wherever the money was. And think about the bevy of incredibly talented trainers that came out of the Wayne Lucas system, including Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher, who basically has rewritten a lot of the records that his boss, Wayne Lucas, wrote. So completely changed the landscape, having multiple divisions and horses in different jurisdictions.
Results coming up shortly from Oaklawn. He's Richie. I'm Lafitte. There is no off-season in thoroughbred racing. Racing somewhere 12 months a year. We're focused on the racing. You just saw it. Oaklawn and right here at Aqueduct. It is the New York Stallion Series. 2 stakes races for 2-year-olds worth $500,000. The first just took place about 15 minutes ago. This was the Great White Way Stakes, the New York Stallion Series with $500,000 on the line. These 2-year-olds will pick up the action top of the stretch, where the favorite was in front and looked like he was going to shake clear here, but towards the outside, the eventual winner plugging away. Gino emerging victorious for trainer David Dunk, Richie.
Yeah, just worked out a good trip. There was a lot of pressure early on. The favorite, the one, Unique Unions, a couple horses taking shots at him. Gino rallied up. This race was not without drama, though, as the 11-horse Un Ojo made a bold rally up alongside of Gino. They came together. They brushed. I think it was a product of one horse shifting in a little, another horse shifting out a little. And I say that with full disclosure. My son is the agent for Trevor McCarthy on the runner-up. I wouldn't have mind seeing a reversal in the order of finish. But to be fair, I think Gino came out half a step. At the same time, Un Ojo came in a little bit, and sometimes they're going to come together, they're going to brush. Rubbing is racing.
Rubbing is racing. Day of Thunder reference, I like it. Maggie gave you some reasons to have faith in the long shot. Un Ojo at 23-1 comes up just short. Gino taking full advantage at 8-1, trained by David Dunk, with Maggie in the winner's circle moments ago.
Here with winning trainer Dave Donk in the New York Stallion Series Great White Way. Gino, Dave, a horse that narrowly defeated an open company on the turf, but took to the dirt quite well in his first try.
Yeah, first I got to say congrats to Peter Martin, as well as owning. You bred this horse, and Pete lives in California, so this is a big one for him, so congrats, Pete.
How do you end up with a New York bred then?
He likes to race in New York, so, good for us. But, yeah, listen, he's a horse that's always trained really well on the dirt. I debated first time, should I run him dirt or turf? The mother won on the grass, even though she's by Sun King. That doesn't scream grass. So, he won, so I kind of kept him there. My success with Big Brown has been on the grass. So, but he's a really good workhorse. I needed to try him once on the dirt, and this was a pretty good spot to find out.
I'd say $500,000. And Dave, he just seems like a really cool horse, as we were discussing, to have in the barn too. He seems very classy and just knows his job, and that's what we saw out here. He was determined in victory today.
Yeah, it's one thing that defines nice horses is class, as you would know, and so he oozes class. Everything that he does, he's beautiful to handle. Just like today, he's beautiful in the paddock. Like I said, he's a really good workhorse, and I asked Georgie which surface, but I don't know. So, you know, it was either run here, find out how good he is on the dirt, or turn him out for 6 weeks, but maybe 6 around.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we playing in a winter assault?
Yeah, I think we'll take a look at it. We'll talk to Pete and see what we want to do, but he certainly proved himself today.
Congratulations. Enjoy this one today. And the earnings for your New York bred and sired Gino.
Merry Christmas. Thanks.
What a way to go on the Christmas holiday for the Dave Donk Barn, sending out a victorious Gino.
Merry Christmas is right, Maggie. Winner's share of a $500,000 purse. David Donk all smiles at Gino in the great white weight division of the New York Stallion Series. Turning the page to race number 7, starter allowance. Field and updated odds. Horses in the paddock with about 9 minutes to post. Royal Realm down towards the bottom at 2-1. What does the 2015 National Handicapping Championship Tour winner think about this race? Jonathan Kinchin is with us. JK, welcome to the show. What are we doing in this 7th race at Aqueduct? What'd you come up with?
Well, I'm not doing anything because Dave Donk just beat me with a turf horse on the dirt named Gino. I'm assuming it had something to do with his affiliation with the Jets, even though Gino no longer plays for the Jets. But so I'm going to be starting over a new wager. I think the 9 Royal Realm is very interesting here. I like the outside draw for Royal Realm, and I like Royal Realm's last start, switching to Rick Schosberg. Now, nothing against David Donk, but sometimes when you switch from a trainer from one trainer to another, a horse can kind of wake up. I felt like that's what happened with Royal Realm. I love the outside draw. I think there's some other horses in here, but Royal Realm being the favorite right now, I do think is the horse that's most likely to win this race.
That is a tough beat. That is a tough beat in the first division of the New York Stallion Series. Jonathan Kinchin be with us all afternoon, and Maggie is well. Right back to Maggie in the paddock with this Race 7 Paddock Report.
And, well, I do like Royal Realm and the appearance of him here in the paddock. I thought he had some trouble, too, in that last start while finishing second. Going to take a look at a new face. Coming first off the claim for trainer Linda Rice. He is the plain one in here, Blake B. And he comes out of a race in which, down at Churchill, he was wired that day. And an uncharacteristically somewhat poor ride by Joel Rosario in that this horse broke really well. And then he just continuously took him back off of what materialized to be a slow pace. And that's just not how you win races. I love his appearance here in the paddock. He is strong. He's robust, a little bit more shorter coupled than I anticipated. So therefore, I kind of like him getting to this 1-turn mile. And I know maybe he's a little tough to trust because his 2 fast races that make him a player here did come while in the Chris Hartman barn. And Chris Hartman has continuously, at least this year, had very good Churchill down meets. So I think, though, on the flip side, it's a positive that Linda chooses to protect him after bringing him up here. So I love his appearance in the paddock, and I think he's a player. As the inside runner, though, is number 2, Blue Grotto. I wasn't enthralled with his effort last time. And comes out of the same race as Royal Realm. I would love to see this horse try to regain the speed that he once had. He has just not displayed it in his 2 starts since coming back off the layoff. And I don't know if we're going to get it here again today. He's very quiet, very relaxed. Just, he looks great, but he just looks as though he's kind of sleepwalking, to be honest. What he looks like he's doing. So I would love to see Jose Ortiz be aggressive from that inside, get this horse involved, just have him in position to possibly pounce, because his first race back off the bench does certainly make him a player here, Lafitte.
Wake up, Blue Grotto. By a former Derby runner-up, Bodemeister, as Maggie mentioned, Saddle Towel 2. He'll break from the rail. Number 1 is Blake B. Let's get back to Blake B, Richie. This will be his 5th start for 4 different trainers, very popular at the claim box. We're talking about number 1, Blake B. And let's revisit his latest win. This was 2 starts back, late November, Churchill Downs. Blake B., who was very aggressive early on, but was still able to finish strong on that afternoon, despite how eager he was in the early stages.
It just feels to me that Blake B is a little bit of a free runner. And you just don't want to get in his way so much. And in his subsequent start, Joel Rosario kind of got into a bit of an argument with him and forced him to race the way Joel Rosario wanted him to race. Blake B will not make the lead here because of the presence of Swinton. Swinton is a flat-out sprinter. But I'm not saying he's a front runner. He's a free runner. leave him be. Let him find his own rhythm. Some horses get mad and they sulk when you over-restrain them.
But even on that day, and there he is, Blakeby, really pulling, and still was able to finish. That's something to watch early on with Blake B, how much he's pulling at Jose Lezcano in the early stages of this 1 mile affair. A Corkman, second half of the entry here for Linda Rice.
Yeah, and a horse that's a bit more of a closing type, so two horses from the same stable that have complementing styles.
Blue Grotto, Jose Ortiz, again, he'll break from the rail.
Horse that's just been kind of not as quick away from the gate, so he hasn't been showing the speed he once possessed.
FF Rocket, first race on dirt at Aqueduct.
Yeah, and he's kind of a deep closer regardless of what surface. He'll be hoping they go fast early.
Number 5, Altered, 19-1 winner at Churchill Downs in his latest.
Yeah, and you know, he's going to have to improve off of that effort. He won, but this is a little bit tougher.
Swinton, as you mentioned, speedy New York bred gelding.
Yeah, he's got a lot of speed, but he's not usually very quick the first step or two out of the gate, but then he's kind of almost a runoff kind of speed. Even if he doesn't break very sharply, it won't be long before he's right up there because he's a horse that kind of runs through the bridle.
Dylan Davis riding very well in the saddle. Here is a No Burn and Kendrick Carmouche winding him up in the warm-up here.
A horse that likes to be involved as well, but I think he'll be relegated to a stalking position.
Number 8, X Top, a 35-1 shocker, 2 races back right here.
And this would be even a bigger shocker. This horse is stepping up in big company from 14. Now won as a 3 and a life last time.
Outside Royal Realm, runner-up at 10-1, facing similar last month. You're not getting 10-1 today.
No, and this is a very difficult horse to ride. He kind of breaks okay, and then after he goes in 8th of mile, he kind of wants to run off with the rider. He gave Trevor McCarthy a handful last time. Trevor talked about it, kind of understands how he's got to ride him a little bit. I think you'll see him taking precautions that he doesn't get rank in the middle of the race.
7th race, that's the field. Of course, you can always join us and play with us at Naira Bets. All the action on our program and more while earning up to a $200 deposit match bonus. New members use promo code BONUS200 when signing up and earn up to a $200 deposit match after your first deposit. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Join now at NairaBets.com to earn your $200 deposit match. Very easy to sign up. You can do so very quickly. And maybe get down on the favorite here. Royal Realm, the 2-1 favorite, 2 minutes to post.
You know, he's a horse that sometimes can be a little bit sluggish or sloppy leaving the gate. Well, the outside post gives Trevor the opportunity to just break quietly into his hands, even if he doesn't break super sharp. He's not running the risk of getting squeezed between two horses. And this way it helps him from setting him off, igniting him, if you will, where he'll get keen and try to grab the bit and do too much in the middle of the race.
Trevor McCarthy just missed with a long shot Unojo in the New York Stallion Series about 25 minutes ago. See how he rebounds here on the favorite Royal Realm. JK, what if you're not convinced by the favorite? Perhaps a couple of other options in this 7th race.
Yeah, look, I think the 6, Swinton, is very interesting in here. Swinton has been sprinting, going shorter, now gets an opportunity to go that mile. And I think a lot of times with a horse who's lightly raced, you kind of get what you get with them sprinting. This horse is good enough to win sprinting before. He's run good races sprinting. He runs fast early in his sprint races. Now he's trying to go long for the first time. And one of the things you'll often see with lightly raced horses is a horse that was forced to go faster to keep up in a sprint race when they want to make the lead. Swinton will be able to make the lead in this race and not use nearly the energy or go nearly as fast as he had to go in the sprint races. Just if, that horse will continue on and can handle the distance. He could be dangerous, and at 6-1, it's okay to try to figure that out. The 7, No Burn, another one, since switching to the Bill Morey barn, ran well last time. It looks a little bit, doesn't look great, but did show some early speed. And I always love those names. You see Bill Mott, and you see a name like No Burn, you know that our friend Lee Einseidler once owned the horse. And I don't know about Maggie. Hopefully no tequila shots today. You have to work, Maggie.
Tomorrow, JK. I mean, I'm going to a Mexican restaurant. I am definitely getting involved with a little Casamigos here. But No Burn, that Casamigos does not have, is a horse that's a bit of an enigma. So he's a horse that he ran well. He ran okay on the turf. Then they just drop him immediately in that maiden 20 up at Saratoga. He was going to get claimed, no doubt about it. Voided claim because he had heat stroke and was vanned off. He presents him as a horse, I don't know for a fact, but as a horse that has some trouble sweating. So it was a very hot day up at Saratoga. So then they go back to the maiden special weight. He runs well in the context of being beaten by Happy Medium, who just destroyed a field earlier today of 2X allowance horses, going 1:15 and 4 for 6.5 furlongs, which is seriously fast time for this Aqueduct racetrack. And then they drop him back in for the 40. He gets claimed running an 85. He does look like a horse, I will say, that looks like a wet track horse. He didn't run well first off the claim. I'll be honest. I'm not sure what to think of him. He's going to have to step up here to prove himself to me, but you're getting a decent price of 7-1. Swinton, he doesn't look like he wants to run long, but oftentimes, as Richie knows, horses stretching out for the first time, that's when you'll see their best performance is the first time they tried to do it. And 2, he'll be uncontested. Lafitte?
But we need to watch him at the gate.
Needs to break cleanly and relax into his hands. Not a horse that usually pricks his ears. He kind of runs through the bridle. I like horses stretching out to 2 turns the first time from sprints because the first turn kind of takes them off the bridle. They got a half a mile to the far turn, Lafitte. I think he's going to go too quick.
Swinton, number 6. Watch him at the start and watch number 1, Blake B. How much does he pull early on? Post time, race 7, live at Aqueduct. Chris Griffin standing by.
And they're off. Speed from No Burn towards the far outside. Here comes a run from Swinton from in between horses. Swinton crosses over to the rail and has a head in front. No Burn is going to track into second. Then X-Top is very wide with Royal Realm. That's the leading quartet. Further back in the field, that's Blake B. Tracking in behind Blake B. Here comes a run from Altered, who's now taken the 7th position. Far outside is Corkman. That one's followed by FF Rocket. Far back right now is Blue Grotto, double digits off the leader. The leader is Swinton. Dylan Davis and Swinton, they're up by 3/4 of a length. No Burn is stalking right there in second. Blake B needs some room at the rail in third. X-Top is in between horses, is hemmed in there by Royal Realm, who's in the 4th spot. Also moving forward is Alter, who's in 6th. At the rail there in a tight spot will be FF Rocket, a wide rally here from Corkman, and Blue Grotto still has to pass them all. Less than a half mile to go into that far turn. 46.83 for a half mile time. Here up on the outside is No Burn, and No Burn has put a neck in front of Swinton, who battles on. Royal Realm is following that move as 3 wide is coming after the leader, No Burn. Kendrick Carmouche, No Burn, they're up by a full length. Royal Realm is under a full drive. Swinton, X-Top in between horses. It's No Burn at the top of the stretch, has plenty right now. No Burn kicks for home, went 3/4 in 1 minute 11.85. No Burn is quickly up by 4. Royal Realm is chasing down the center of the racetrack. Here comes Blue Grotto from way out of it inside the final 8th. No Burn is almost home. Blue Grotto is absolutely flying at this leader, but is running out of time. It is No Burn to get the victory. Blue Grotto will grab second, then Royal Realm, and FF Rocket in 1 minute 36.75 seconds.
Smooth as silk, No Burn, making it look all too easy in this 7th race at the Big A.
Always traveling like a winner, cruising, using the 6 Swinton almost as a pacemaker for him. Took the lead before the quarter pole, even got a little bit of a breather here under Kendrick Carmouche. And it's nice to see William Morey get a win here in New York. His first foray to winter racing here in New York, bringing a string of horses here. That was his 1,740th career victory. A guy who knows how to win and knows how to spot his horses properly. Boy, No Burn, he was smooth through the stretch.
6-1, No Burn, making that competitive race look very easy in the end for owner Bob Bone. That's Kendrick Carmouche in the saddle. When we come back, more Kendrick Carmouche, the 5th Avenue division of the New York Stallion Series. Kendrick Carmouche trying to become just the 3rd jockey ever to win back-to-back editions. Struck with Leobound's Prayer last year. Today, a date with Morning Matcha, 8-5, Morning Light favorite in the co-feature.
Grade 1 winner and track record setter Lee. Like their sire, his runners have excelled on both dirt and turf, including these standout performers.
Leading by 3, Gibberish and Dylan Davis.
Out of a Galileo mare, this dual surface star has sired juvenile stakes winners on both dirt and turf. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Great to have you with us on America's Day at the Races. As always, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Getting closer to post time. Fifth race, Oaklawn Park. $30,000 claimer, all for sale. 3/4 of a mile. 3-year-olds and older in the mud. Updated odds. Scratch number 8, O-Dog. Cold as hell. And The Rock Says, both 5-2. We start with Reef's Destiny, 9-1. 27 lifetime starts. This will be his 17th at Oaklawn.
Theme in this race, a lot of horses coming off of layoffs. This horse hasn't been seen since May, and he's 0 for 7 in off-going.
Number 2, Captain Dawn, disappeared after dominating at Prairie Meadows last July.
Yeah, hasn't been seen since July. Arkansas bred shows up again here. He's going to have to prove he can do it off the bench.
Number 3, Brother Aaron, 3-1 morning line favorite. Now 8-1. First after the claim, trainer Lindsey Schultz.
Feels surprising to me, this 10-strike racing charge. Horse that I think has the most recent form.
Big overlay. And then number 4, The Rock Says, unraced in September 2020.
This horse is well over a year layoff, taking this kind of money for top-class connections. He must be touting himself in the mornings.
Favorite 2-1. Number 5, U.S. Steel. Some tough-sounding horses in this race. Giovanni Franco rides.
Yeah, horse shipping in from Aqueduct. Last 2 starts on the turf. Last time on the dirt. He won. He's always competitive at this level.
First start on a wet track. Then number 6, Too Bad, So Sad. Oaklawn debut. A 15th start this year.
Yeah, it's an adorable sort, but he's going to have to find his best race to be competitive here.
Number 7, Sag Harbor. Oaklawn debut. First after the claim, Randy Matthews.
Yeah, a horse that's 0 for 2 and off-going claim from a top barn in Steve Asmussen.
O-Dog is out. Number 9, Torin, unraced since June. A perfect 2 for 2 here at Oaklawn.
Like when horses shown an affinity or a fondness for a surface. At 15-1, he's got the 2 wins there.
Cold as hell. Look at those colors, famed colors. Dwayne Lucas looking for back-to-back wins.
Well, it dropped a lot, the temperature today, so a horse with an outside draw that should be forwardly placed.
$30,000 claimers in the 5th at Oaklawn. There's the field. Another look there. Cold as hell is mentioned. Owned and trained by Dwayne Lucas, a 4-time Kentucky Derby winning trainer. 2 of those Derby wins with Gary Stevens in the saddle, Gary, for a rider. For David Cabrera, who just received instructions from a Dwayne Lucas in the paddock. What was Wayne like pre-race in the paddock?
He's got an intensity, but a very relaxed, calm demeanor with that intensity, and he's got a way of passing that over to the jockey where all of a sudden you've got this quiet confidence. And I can tell you one thing about Wayne Lucas at this time of his career, at this stage of his career. When he drops a horse in, like he did in this maiden 40 prior to this race and the last race that he won with, it's a dangerous move. He wins at a high percentage. And a move like this horse, second time off the layoff, he's being offered up for $30,000 today. And I can tell you that David, he probably told David Cabrera this horse is well meant. He's doing well. I expect him to come away from there, be well placed early on, and he's going to finish up for you. You've got a great post position, something to that effect. So I can guarantee you David will go into that starting gate with a lot of confidence and take what little abuse that he'll get if the horse gets beat. Wayne has become a lot more, I should say, a lot easier to deal with at this stage of his career, and he's become more of a mentor to young riders. I sit in the tack room, his office in the morning, and listen to him talking about my early stages of my career. Watch this film, watch that film, and he really enjoys watching young riders develop along with his assistant trainers that have gone on to fame themselves. Jonathan, what do you think about this race?
I think I miss you, G. I haven't seen you in a long time. I like the 2, Captain Dawn. This is a horse that is taking a lot of money. Now, look, the morning line, it's not the most important thing in the world. It is a prediction from one individual of where the closing odds will go. The morning line was high. This horse is being bet down. It's not an automatic, but I do think there's some signs to it, especially a horse coming in off a layoff where the biggest question is, will Captain Dawn run his last race? The way he's being bet, I believe he will. I'm going to go with the 2, Captain Dawn.
JK going with number 2, Captain Dawn. We saw number 3 in the post-parade, Brother Aaron, who was the morning line favorite and overlay. Trainer Lindsey Schultz, first year on her own, Richie, a former assistant for Shug McGahee, legend, Hall of Famer, and here with the 10-strike horses, Lindsey Schultz, and trying for a victory with Brother Aaron. On paper, too big a price at post time.
I think 7-1 is a huge overlay on this horse who's got very good recent form, and Lindsey Schultz certainly was in a stable that she should have learned a lot of good habits from a world-class horseman.
One of the very best to have ever done it, Shug McGahee. Wayne Lucas on the outside, see those colors. One name comes to mind, the brilliant Landaloose. Sensational 2-year-old filly, never had a chance to fulfill her promise. We lost her way too soon. For Wayne Lucas, still going strong, the 4-time Derby winning trainer. They're going to go back-to-back at Oaklawn with Cold as Hell towards the outside. See how it all unfolds. Vic Stauffer with the call. Post-time 5th race live, Oaklawn Park.
They're at the post. They're off. Captain Don wins the break, goes to the front from U.S. Steel, Sag Harbor, Torrin, and Cold as Hell. Reef's Destiny is next, then Too Bad So Sad, and the trailer is Brother Aaron. Cold as Hell and Torrin from their outside gates will now battle. Cold as Hell's a neck in front. Torrin is second by a length and a half to Captain Don, who's now third at the rail with U.S. Steel just outside. The Rock Says is fifth in the pink with about 4 lengths to make up, then Sag Harbor. 3.5 back to Too Bad So Sad and Reef's Destiny. Brother Aaron is the trailer, 3 furlongs from the money. Cold as Hell. U.S. Steel 3 deep. At the rail, Torrent. Now a 4 wide. The Rock Says moving up. And here comes the Rock Says, going to challenge for the lead. Then comes Captain Don. Brother Aaron is between horses. Too Bad So Sad. Sag Harbor and Reef's Destiny. Many chances top of the stretch. Cold as Hell is challenged by U.S. Steel. And U.S. Steel is a neck in front. Cold as Hell is second. The Rock Says is flattened out third. Brother Aaron is taken fourth, but this is U.S. Steel or Cold as Hell as the 2 grays come to the wire, and U.S. Steel is inching just clear. Cold as Hell is back into second. U.S. Steel in front. U.S. Steel won a length and a half. Cold as Hell was second. It is close for third between the Rock Says and Captain Don. Maybe Rock.
U.S. Steel, Giovanni Franco able to repel the charge on the outside there. U.S. Steel in this 5th race at Oaklawn Park, able to put away Cold as Hell.
And Giovanni Franco gets his first win at Oaklawn Park with his new agent, our colleague Gary Stevens, for Wayne Potts, who has multiple divisions now too. Horses at Oaklawn, horses here stabled at Belmont Park, racing at Aqueduct for the winter, and got a very nice trip. Giovanni Franco is a guy who people will start knowing his name pretty quickly, delivering rides like that.
Represented, as you mentioned, by Gary Stevens. Franco's first win of the meet here, U.S. Steel. A big effort there by Cold as Hell. Just too much U.S. Steel. In the end, 5-4. We'll have the results from Oaklawn Park as our coverage continues in Hot Springs and right here in South Ozone Park, New York. Aqueduct, where the filly to beat in the Saturday co-feature at Aqueduct is Morning Matcha. Pennsylvania bred, Central Banker, 2-year-old filly. What will she do in this 5th division of the New York Stallion Series? Live look at her there in the paddock. We'll find out in about 12 minutes. We'll be right back. You're watching America's Day at the Races.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus buyer speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
War Dancer's Saratoga momentum continues as his progeny keep winning. First-time starter, She's Dancing wins by 7 lengths.
She's Dancing, making this look like a walk in the park.
Battle Scars 2 starts and 2 wins at Arlington.
Battle Scars first up on debut.
Pop the Bubbly at 1 mile and a 16th.
Pop the Bubbly to the outside of Concept. Pop the Bubbly gets the win.
And Show Me the Honey at 7 furlongs at Belmont.
And Show Me the Honey is the winner.
Become a part of the momentum. Visit wardancerstud.com to book your mare today.
Blood Horse Plus, available through bloodhorse.com, provides exclusive, timely, and unmatched content to subscribers, including Fox Sports, Blood Horse branded weekly programs, a detailed stakes winners section, behind-the-scenes videos from Blood Horse staff, on-demand access to deeper horse statistics, and a $5 monthly credit to equineline.com. Upgrade to Blood Horse Plus today.
Into the final furlong, and Long Distance takes charge. Long Distance here with an impressive performance, opening up by 5, leaving the front runner Financial Lady behind in second. Electric Shock fighting for third with Fickle Fanny. How about this winner? Long Distance wins by a long distance. She won by 8.
Comment line said, scampered away and driving. The man doing the driving, Richie Migliori aboard Long Distance. Richie, what do you remember most about that performance, about that race?
That I rode her too hard, and she was trying to lug in. She had a kind of a habit of wanting to lug in, didn't want to change leads, but I definitely rode her too hard. But she was a nice filly, came back and won the Eastview, and that was a good group of New York bred fillies that year. Electric Shock and several others that really turned out to be nice fillies. Nice kind of winner's circle there. That's the old paddock at Aqueduct.
Look at that.
When they saddled the horses downstairs and brought them up, and we were up top there. But nice memory. Gary Contessa, the trainer. Anybody could have rode that filly that day.
I beg to differ. Richie Migliori, Long Distance in this New York Stallion Series, 5th Avenue. A little bit darker for today's edition. And who will be the next jockey to win the 5th Avenue? Can Kendrick Carmouche become the third to go back-to-back? We're about to find out. You see the field and updated odds. Morning Matcha, who was the morning line choice, not the favorite, 2-1. Yo Cuz is 8-5, 8 minutes out. Down to Maggie in the paddock for this 5th Avenue Paddock Report.
Morning Matcha. Well, as you were just saying, Lafitte, she's not the favorite, but she looks good here. We'll get to Yo Cuz in a second, who took a bunch of early money in her debut too. But want to take a look at a filly who is switching back to the dirt for only the second time, which she debuted on it up in Saratoga, and that's number 7. How do you make your money? Now, I was all over her when she switched to the turf in her second start because I thought she just looked more like a turf horse. Since then, she has run consecutively on the synthetic. Now, I was really convinced that she was a turf horse. Now I'm not so sure. I actually might be thinking that she might be just getting better, because in those first 2 starts, and while they did everything they could in her second start to assuage any bad habits, she was acting up, and she just seemed a little bit flustered by the whole racing scene. Could have been because it was Saratoga, to be fair, but she's just so much more relaxed here today and calm. She looks great. She's developed a bit more. I actually, now looking at her and viewing her in the paddock, have a more optimistic approach to her than I did just looking at her on paper. She does come in off a second place finish in an open stake up at Woodbine. Now, Yo Cuz. All right, Yo Cuz. They paid $125,000 for this filly who, relatively speaking, does not have that much pedigree. She just galloped at the Fasig-Tipton sale. Yet again, they paid $125,000 for her. She took a ton of money. She does have a work tab that's littered with bullets. And then she acted up prior to going in the gate, and then she got away slowly and put her behind the 8 ball completely. She did rally. She started running around the turn and weaved her way in through traffic, so she really got a good experience. Furthermore, in the paddock that day, I just didn't think she looked awake. She didn't look strong. She has gotten what she's needed a bit out of that first effort. Watch her at the gate. Watch how she behaves. But I do think an extra furlong as well is going to help her, since she's such a long, lanky, rangy type of filly. Moving on to number 9, Bank on Anna. She was entered as an MTO in the off-the-turf race. Showed good speed that day, ultimately to be beaten by a first-time starter that was favored and thinking it over. I like her appearance. It's actually the first time I'm laying eyes on her, but she's kind of bullish, just all out, kind of dirt sprinting filly. We'll see how she does. You know, she debut over a muddy sealed racetrack. It's fast and Harrow today, but I like what I'm seeing from her. I think she's a bit interesting as one that would provide a bit of value. Lafitte?
7-1. Bank on Anna. Jose Lezcano to ride. We'll have riders up in just a moment, Richie. Let's circle back to Morning Matcha, number 6, who was the 8-5 morning line favorite, now co-favorite at 2-1. She is the Pennsylvania-bred Central Banker filly. And go back to her most recent effort. This was mid-November at Parks. There she is, nice and alert. Parks, where she's really found her groove. Morning Matcha riders up on this particular afternoon, just really running away and hiding from her competition on that particular afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, she was just decidedly best, and she got that perfect Park strip, and what better rider to give her the perfect Park strip than Kendrick Carmouche, who was a leading rider there for many years before moving his tack to New York, where he's been a very welcome addition to this jockey colony. And she's a Pennsylvania bred, even though she's New York Stallion Stakes eligible, gives her a lot of options, but she was just very good here, and I think the 7 furlongs is no issue. Very good filly.
Morning Matcha, trained by Butch Reed. Campaigned last year's 2-year-old champion filly, Veequist. We'll see her again in the post parade. We start with She's a Big Deal, 49-1, 2-time winner at Delaware and Laurel.
Yeah, it's going to have to improve, but you understand why they're in here. $500,000 reasons.
Alicia's Way, make the rider, Ruben Silvera.
Rallied from off the pace in the slop last time. He's going to have to get faster.
Leoban's Legacy, debut winner at Saratoga this summer.
Yeah, and then she's been, kind of bouncing around, well beaten in the Seek and the Ante, ran at Laurel.
Laoki, My Purple Haze, homebred.
Is still a maiden, just missed last time.
Eric Cancel aboard. And then Yo Cuz, Leoban filly for the Hall of Famer, Bill Mott.
A filly that obviously trained well, took money for a Bill Mott horse. It's Tom Gallo's Dreammaker Racing. She's going to improve, but she's going to have to handle the filly outside of her.
This one, Morning Matcha, in search of a third straight and a first stakes win.
This is a seasoned filly. This is her 7th start. She's never been off the board, and she's a Pennsylvania bred running against New York bred, Central Banker, strong New York Stallion.
How do you make your money? 2-time winner, but on grass and synthetic.
Yeah, her one dirt race, she showed some speed and kind of tired there. She's going to have to show she can do it against this kind of company on the dirt.
Half birthday, first after the claim, Mertcan Kentamasi.
It's going to really have to improve.
Leaps and bounds. Bank on Anna, Central Banker filly for Phil Serpy. There she is.
Ran really well first time out. Showed high speed and was game, and she can take a big step forward.
Jose Lezcano in the saddle, number 10. Mrs. Banks, a debuting Central Banker filly.
Yeah, first-time starter, another Central Banker. Tough place to get your career started, though.
Towards the outside, number 10 here, Mrs. Banks, still looking at Bank on Anna. There's Mrs. Banks, first-time starter. Tough spot to make her debut, but as you mentioned earlier, why not with a $500,000 purse? And on the outside, Shigeko, runaway winner in the slop for Christophe Clement last out.
Yeah, Shigeko, named for Barry Schwartz's employee, worked for him with the all their business in Japan with the Calvin Klein company, named for her. And they're going to see if she can compete against this level of competition on the dirt. She ran well in and off the turfer. This is quite a bit deeper.
Dylan Davis, Christophe Clement teamed up for some big wins this year, trying for another here on the outside at 15-1. JK, what's your approach to strategy? What'd you come up with in this New York Stallion Series 5th Avenue?
Yeah, and I mean, in full disclosure, when I played the pick 6 that's no longer with us, and I'm rooting for 5 of 6, I spread in this race. I thought it was tough. I think the 6 Morning Matcha obviously makes sense. From a speed figure standpoint, she's run the best races. But when you're dealing with 2-year-olds, you're going to have progressive types that improve. So will someone catch up to Morning Matcha? And at even money, I'd be willing to try to find someone to do that. I thought the 9 Bank on Anna was interesting. It's a horse that caught the mud first time out, ran well enough that day, has tactical speed. If you look at pace figures, kind of had an even style, meaning that as fast as she was running early, she was virtually running that fast late. Those types of horses stretch out well. And with that extra furlong from 6 to 7, I felt like the 9 Bank on Anna made a ton of sense.
Bank on Anna at 7-1. Maggie keeping a close eye on these 2-year-old fillies. What are you noticing in the warm-up here, Maggie?
I like that JK as well, likes the 9 a bit here. But as far as warm-ups go, Lafitte, you couldn't ask for a classier acting, even money favorite than Morning Matcha. I mean, she just walked out here graceful as can be. You know, Kendrick usually kind of sends him, and he didn't with her. He knew what he was on. Let her walk, let her jog, and just pick up this lovely canter and gallop over to the backside. I think she's going to be tough to beat here. I really do. I don't mind getting a little less ground, though. I think she is a filly that does excel with the distance because she's so tall and leggy. But number 11, Shigeko, she's been pretty slow. I mean, she's been slow in her lone win on the dirt, and it was a muddy track. But I didn't think she looked all that fit that day, even though it was her second start. It was for Christophe Clement. She looks decidedly more tucked up, more defined. I don't particularly like her, but I do take note when I see differences in horses from one start to the next, and she's going out for really, really good connections, guys.
Grade 1 E.P. Taylor winning connections. Dylan Davis, first Grade 1 victory of his career for Christophe Clement.
And it just does wonders for a rider's confidence, and for people to see a trainer like Christophe Clement giving him that opportunity, having that confidence in him. Success breeds success. You win a race like that, you know you can deliver on the major stage, and other trainers know you can do it as well.
Dylan Davis, Shigeko towards the outside. You and Maggie going with Morning Matcha, JK with Bank on Anna. What do you want to see early on from Morning Matcha and Kendrick Carmouche?
I hope she doesn't drop too far out of it, coming back to one turn. Even though it's 7 furlongs, it's going to be a sharper pace than she's faced at Parks in her last start.
Morning Matcha, Kendrick Carmouche trying to become the third jockey to win this event in back-to-back years. Even money at post time, Morning Matcha. Chris Griffin with the remainder of the load and call. $500,000 on the line. 2-year-old fillies, this New York Stallion Series 5th Avenue Division, live on America's Day at the Races.
Shigeko to the outside. Here's Yokuz stepping forward. Shigeko, last to load. All in line. All set. And they're off. Awkward start for Alicia's Way, who's at the tail of the field. Speed from the outside, Bank on Anna. Yokuz is in the mix, and at the rail, there's She's a Big Deal. These three across the racetrack. How'd You Make Your Money is in the 4th spot. Down to the inside, here comes Laoban's Legacy is going to challenge for that position. In that grouping as well as Half Birthday, who's now back to the 6th position. Lauchi's a touch wide. In behind Lauchi, that's Mrs. Banks. Towards the back of the field here comes Alicia's Way. Morning Matcha is the trailer behind Shigeko. They get set to take it into the far turn. Yokuz has got the lead. Yokuz passes that half-mile pole, is still a length in front. Yokuz went 22.96 for an opening quarter mile. Here comes Bank on Anna, ready to challenge right up on the outside. Laoban's Legacy in between horses. Also rallying on is Lauchi. Lauchi is now in the clear, is chasing this leader. It's Yokuz who's in front. Yokuz and an oncoming Lauchi. Outside of that one comes Bank on Anna in between horses. These three across the racetrack. They got a quarter mile left to go. Yokuz turns for home. Lauchi in the center of the racetrack. Morning Matcha has got momentum. Also with Shigeko is battling on. They've got to catch Yokuz. Yokuz has got an 8th to go. It is 3 lengths clear. Lauchi continues to chase. Morning Matcha is in pursuit but running out of time. It's Yokuz who's almost home. Morning Matcha is making up that late ground. Yokuz, Morning Matcha. Yokuz will hang on. Yokuz gets the victory. Morning Matcha for second. Lauchi and Shigeko in 1 minute 25.34 seconds.
World-class connections. Jose Ortiz, Hall of Famer Bill Mott. Mott, second one of the afternoon. Yokuz gives this field the slip. Look at the ears, how comfortable she was traveling. Top of the stretch. Yes. The 5th Avenue winner, the favorite. So far back, you're concerned going in with Morning Matcha.
Yeah, she just had too much to do. Got very far back, took a lot of kickback. You can see her rallying down the center of the track, moving into 3rd now, and just how covered in dirt she is. And then you look at the winner, Yokuz, who did have those ears up, was enjoying herself. When the horse's ears are up, it tells you they're not all in. They've got something left. And she's completely clean as opposed to Morning Matcha, who's covered in dirt, clean faces, win races. And this filly you want to talk about a race moving a horse forward. She was a different horse. She broke sharp. She put herself right in the game, as opposed to the first time it was almost like she was unsure of what she was supposed to do out there. Well, she figured out her job pretty quickly.
She has the right team in her corner, the Hall of Famer Bill Mott. Yo Cuz, Dream Maker Racing, winning owners in her second career start. The winner's share of a $500,000 purse. Yo Cuz over the favorite. Morning Matcha 5, 6, 4, 11 at Aqueduct. Just one left at the Big A. The teeth of the program still ahead at Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. The late pick 5 still ahead. We'll have a chance to look forward to seeing Lone Rock, the former claimer, the headliner in the $200,000 Tinsel Stakes, the first running of the Tinsel Stakes at Oaklawn Park. That's all coming up next at Oaklawn. Live coverage continuing. Great to have you with us on America's Day at the Races.
Run Happy is the #1 second crop sire by stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual Future Pool 1 favorite. A leading dirt sire, and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Getting dark quickly. Temperature dropping here in South Ozone Park, New York. One left at Aqueduct. As always, coverage brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Yo Cuz in the Fifth Avenue. $500,000 purse in this New York Stallion Series. Yo Cuz, third win on the afternoon for Jose Ortiz, second for the Hall of Famer Bill Mott. We'll have post-race reaction in a moment, but let's make our way back to Hot Springs, Arkansas and Oaklawn. Gearing up for the late pick 5, race number 6, live look. Oaklawn Park, that Tinsel Stakes still ahead, inaugural running. Starter allowance here, mile and a 16th, 3-year-olds and older. Omaha, Richie. Omaha, Audible. Back to Aqueduct. Maggie Wolfendale standing by with winning pilot Jose Ortiz having won the Fifth Avenue.
Early through down.
Richie, you're hosting this thing, man. Technical difficulties. We'll try to reconnect with Maggie in the winner's circle. You saw she was with Jose Ortiz. World-class rider, having a big day here at Aqueduct. You know, this is the first time in 6 winters Ortiz is actually riding in New York in the winter. Typically in Florida, and here today, big afternoon, 3 wins.
Absolutely. Everything in life's about balance. You're trying to balance your personal life with your professional life, and this is what he feels is best for his family. And obviously, professionally, it's working out.
Today, no question, Jose Ortiz with that win in the 5th Avenue. Meantime, back at Oaklawn, told you we have this starter allowance event with a mile and a 16th. Seems like things are clearing up there. A lot of rain this morning. We have a muddy track to deal with, just like yesterday. And for these 3-year-olds and older, field of 9, post-parade, you'll see Home Run Trick the favorite, but we start with Tez. David Cohen in the M&M green and white for Robertino Diodoro.
Top connections, Robertino Diodoro, M&M Racing, David Cohen, inside draw.
Number 2, Chicory Blue, 9-year-old gelding, and an 11-time winner.
11-time winner, ran okay here on December 4th, and handles mud, too.
Home Run Trick, the favorite, first after the claim, Chris Hartman, 4-time winner at Oaklawn.
He's shown an affinity for the course and has also been good on off-going.
Number 4, Praetorian, 3-time winner this year, 2 at Tampa, 1 at Prairie Meadows.
No wins at Oaklawn, but does have 4 seconds.
In the money and 2 tries on wet tracks. Number 5, Slick Silver, already a winner at the meet, having won here 2 weeks ago.
I think this horse has a very strong look here. It's good in off-going, good at Oaklawn, coming off a win.
Just a war horse, exemplar, 9-year-old gelding, 14-time winner.
Horse that shows up every single time, runs his best when he's close.
Jack's Advantage pictured. Recent form is solid. 3 starts, a win, a second, and a third.
Gets Giovanni Franco. My apologies. It was his 2nd win of the day, so he's already had 2 on the day, looking for his 3rd.
Looking for a 3rd. Number 8, Hidden Promise, first after the claim, John Ortiz.
Yeah, John Ortiz has done very, very well this year. Kind of a breakout year for him. Horse that has also won at Oaklawn.
Number 9, Flat Out Justice, 15th race this year. Christian Torres in the 10 strike colors.
Yeah, horse that was claimed for $6,250. 2 starts back, eligible for this. Gets a tough draw. Don't like that far outside draw at Oaklawn.
Field for the 6th race in about a minute or so. Might be a little bit longer than that. Gary Stevens, we shorted you a win, man. Our apologies. 2 wins for Giovanni Franco this afternoon, and perhaps working on a 3rd here.
Well, it actually should have been 3 in a row. I took off of Wayne Lucas's horse that won the 4th race today, so my bad there. But listen, back to this race here. This is called the James Lopez Classic in honor of former jockey James Lopez, who died earlier this year at age 43 while having gallbladder surgery and other health issues. He won 1,077 races during his career from 1995 to 2005. He was leading jockey at Tampa Bay Downs, Fairgrounds, Louisiana Downs, Oaklawn Park. He was well liked by all of his peers and anybody he came in touch with. James, this race is named in honor of him. And Maggie Wolfendale, to you for more on James Lopez.
Well, I kind of had a special connection with James for a brief summer. As the brief summer I took out my trainer's license, he rode my first winner for me, who ironically was a New York bred, but named Gulch Fever. And while I lost connection with James over the years, that summer I just remember just being always pleased to see him. He just always wore that warm, infectious smile. And in recent years he was working and galloping horses for trainer Tom Jury, and Tom citing that he had a lot to do with the success of Art Collector early on in his career. And I just kind of echo what Tom had said, in that to know James was to love him, and he was just such a nice guy, and we're definitely all worse off for him not being here. But it's so nice to see Oaklawn naming a race for him in this 6th race, Lafitte.
So well liked, popular, established. Gary mentioned all the different tracks and races that he won during the course of his career. So young, having passed James Lopez, and certainly the jockeys riding and everyone watching with a heavy heart in this James Lopez at Oaklawn Park, where we have just about reached post time. You're looking at Tez there, and David Cohen aboard. 2nd start since being claimed by Robertino Diodoro. Richie, this is his most recent effort. This was opening day facing similar, including Jack's Advantage. You're going to see Jack's Advantage in front, Tez and David Cohen. In this race, they were really bottled up and looking for a seam late. And what you appreciate is how he stuck to his task, even though he very easily could have been discouraged late.
Yeah, you know, we talk about horses having to overcome adversity and the horses that have the tenacity. You can see he's in tight. He's trying to muscle his way between horses, not the most comfortable position. Some horses would bail out on the rider there. They wouldn't want to be in that close a place, but he kept, like you said, resolutely to the task. Now it kind of breaks open a little bit. The winner had all the momentum. He's gone on by, but now he keeps coming and he's going in the right direction at the finish. You have to feel like if he had a cleaner split at the top of the stretch, the outcome could have been different.
Yeah, every reason to pack it in, kept plugging away, and picks off Jack's Advantage. For second, Tez currently 3-1. The starter allowance field, mile and a 16th in the mud. 2-1 the favorite, Richie, a home run trick and a 3-time winner on a wet racetrack.
Yeah, and a horse that will make his trip. He's a horse that lays up close. He doesn't need the lead, so it's nice to have that option. If no one wants it, you can take it. But if someone is on a mission and they want to go quicker, then you put yourself in a stalking position. It's such a help for a rider to have a horse that's versatile, that possesses speed but will wait on you, wait for your cues.
Giving the rider more options. Francisco Arrieta, home run trick, the favorite. Vic Stauffer with the load-in call. It is post time. Don't forget, we still have the inaugural running of the Tinsel later on this evening. Lone Rock, the former claimer, $40,000 claimer who has since earned $720,000, the favorite in the first running of the Tinsel, the feature today at Oaklawn. First things first, and the start of this late pick 5. It is post time from Oaklawn.
They're at the post. They're off. Praetorian and home run trick with Hidden Promise and Jack's Advantage. Slick Silver close up. Flat Out Justice and Tez are next, then Chicory Blue, and the early trailer is Exemplar. It is home run trick from Hidden Promise and Jack's Advantage to the backstretch. Home run trick will set the pace. He's a length in front. Hidden Promise runs up outside of Jack's Advantage, and he pulls Relu Gutierrez up into second. Then comes Praetorian at the rail, and Flat Out Justice 3 wide. Slick Silver shuffles back to 6th and about 4 from the front, and he's a length in front of Chicory Blue and Tez as they run up the backstretch. Home Run Trick is the leader. Home Run Trick, a measured 3/4 length lead from Hidden Promise in second. These two are now 2 clear of Jack's Advantage and Flat Out Justice. At the rail, Praetorian is 5th with 4 to come. Slick Silver just inside of him, and Tez splits horses. Here's Tez moving up in the white blinkers, 4 from the front. Chicory Blue will be 5 wide, leaving the backside. Exemplar is the trailer, and Home Run Trick is still the leader. Home Run Trick, 3 furlongs from the money. A half length in front of Hidden Promise, who's inching just incrementally closer. Then it's 3.5 back to Slick Silver, who moves up outside of Jack's Advantage. Tez still has work to do. Top of the stretch, Home Run Trick and Hidden Promise, 1-2. Home Run Trick cuts the corner and leads. It is Home Run Trick, now a 2-length advantage on Hidden Promise in second. Exemplar is rolling in the center. Then Slick Silver. Home Run Trick is home. Home Run Trick now 4 in front. Hidden Promise is second. Exemplar is third. 2 wins, Arrieta and Hartman. Home Run Trick. Home Run Trick won by 3 1/4. Hidden Promise was second. Exemplar third. Tez finished 4th.
They connected with Lord Dragon in the opener. Francisco Arrieta, Chris Hartman. They connect here with Home Run Trick. 4th win on a wet racetrack and a 5th here at Oaklawn.
Bounced out of the gate, got very comfortable on the lead, took token pressure from the outside runner, the 8 Hidden Promise, Relu Gutierrez. But he just had more in the tank. They turned for home. He kicked on again, and nice run from the 8 Hidden Promise, who hung on for second. First time in the John Ortiz barn.
First time in the Chris Hartman stable. Home Run Trick, first after the claim. Pretty dangerous with that move. Strikes in the 6th at Oaklawn. When we return, winding things down, Aqueduct, nightcap remains. Good race. Wide open sprint for New York breds. Uncle George is a threat. Figures to be a late threat. What will he do in his first start on dirt? That's next.
Respect the law. He's earned it. A Grade 1 winning juvenile.
'Tis the law, pops the cork in the champagne.
A classic winning 3-year-old.
Has
the Lawn is going to win the first leg of the Triple Crown.
5 triple-digit buyers.
Respect the law. 'Tis the law.
The best son of Red Hot Sire Constitution.
He's left the others behind. He's going to win the Run Happy Travers.
'Tis the law.
Introducing Adelphi Racing Club, the horse racing syndicate offering more than just fractional ownership. Enjoy the thrill of an interactive thoroughbred ownership experience competing at the sport's highest level. Attend events where you'll interact with top trainers, industry professionals, and club members. We've cheered on winners from coast to coast at top tracks such as Santa Anita and Saratoga.
And it will be Exotic West.
Become part of a group that celebrates success together. Visit AdelphiRacing.com and join the club today.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program because New York breds start with an advantage. New York breds run for serious green at Belmont and Saratoga. New York bred maidens run for up to $75,000 and allowance horses for up to $85,000. And serious New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race in open company. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
You don't need to be a math whiz to interpret the numbers associated with Freud. His runners have earned more than $66 million. Turf runners earned more than $27 million of that total. And he's sired 69 stakes horses. No wonder sequel owner Becky Thomas thinks of Freud as royalty.
Freud is the king of New York because he is a royally bred son of Stormcat, the foal to Giant's Causeway, impeccable pedigree.
The New York State Thoroughbred Breeding and Development Fund has paid out more than $3.5 million in stallion awards to the syndicate that owns Freud. And breeders have been rewarded with more than $8.5 million in award money through 2020.
We call our farm the farm that Freud built.
Thanks to sequel stallion manager taking a new approach with Freud, he is even more professional now in the breeding shed than he was in the past.
We also did change the method of breeding with him. Instead of the chain, we actually breed him with a bit. I do think he is sensitive in his mouth a bit more than the youngsters, and that actually made a big difference as well in the shed.
The king of New York, Freud. Those stats are staggering. Becky Thomas, thanks so much for the access at Sequel New York. Strength of the New York breeding program. For more information, log on to nybreds.com. And here is Mo Crazy Blues in the paddock, bred by our friends at Sequel New York. You'll see shortly. There he is. Good luck to our friends at Sequel. Mo Crazy Blues, ready for his Aqueduct debut. Down to Maggie in the paddock for this paddock report, Maggie. We couldn't hear what Jose Ortiz was telling you, but he looked excited after his Fifth Avenue win.
He was just saying, does my hair look good? Because I feel like it looks good, Lafitte. No, I'm kidding. He was just saying how Lopez was just so much better at the gate, which provided him with a clean break and really getting a real education out of that first start, which led to her success in that Fifth Avenue division. So a huge day for Jose with 3 wins on the card thus far, but a wide open A other than for the New York breds on tap here, as we'll check in with the horse that is taking the early money that has never stepped foot, at least in the afternoons, on the main track. And that's number 2, Uncle George. I always love this horse's name. But Uncle George is a son of Uncle Mo. So therefore, you know, we like to say that Uncle Mo and sires like this are kind of swing sires. They provide their progeny run on either surface. And that's what Uncle George looks like. And furthermore, on the bottom, while the dam was a European turf runner, this guy's half to Sue, who ran very well on the main track, as well as Storm Prophet. And both of those horses successful dirt routers. But I will say Uncle George does present himself as a sprinter, really strong behind the saddle, actually more strong than what I've seen in the past. I'm more convinced at looking at him that he will have success switching to this surface. But let's check in with the horse that is coming in off the claim, stepping back up into that A other than condition for George Weaver, who in the last year has really gotten into the claim box and with some success too. This horse had trouble, and despite that still got up and won in that 25 non-2 life. This is somewhat deeper waters. It's not the strongest A other than that we've seen running, and I like what I'm seeing. Good energy, good weight, all things you want to see on horses returning off short rest, which he is with 9 days in between starts. I like Reggae Music Man. He was running fast figures as a late 2-year-old, early 3-year-old, and with routine improvement, he could run faster. He's been working well. He looks bigger, stronger, and he's not too nervous, which is something I've seen from him in the past as he comes back off the bench, Lafitte.
Sounds like more rest than rust in progression for Reggae Music Man. Maggie says look out at 9-1. See him again in the post parade. Start with Big Brown Shoes. Second half, well, now the lone half of the entry. Then the favorite, Richie Uncle George at 5-2.
Yeah, interesting from a pedigree standpoint. Mare has had 3 winners on the dirt.
Raven Rocks, aggressive warm-up. What else is new, Kendrick Carmouche?
That's the patented Kendrick Carmouche warm-up. I like big warm-ups. I believe in it.
Number 4, Reggae Music Man, who Maggie was giving you some positive vibes about on race since early June.
Yeah, but hails from a good barn. Patrick Reynolds does a really good job. He's a trainer that flies under the radar but knows how to win.
Number 5, Johnny Fontaine, Richie. This guy, he has some friends you really don't want to mess with.
No, not at all. With that olive oil voice. Johnny Fontaine has had decent form up at Finger Lakes.
He was going to be a star. No salt, Dylan Davis at 7-1.
He's been running well on turf, has to prove that he can produce that form on dirt.
At big odds, he's been running well. Anything passable, 6-year-old gelding, 8-time winner.
Yeah, again, better form up at Finger Lakes. So Jackie Davis won a race the other day. Yeah. Nice ride.
A big price, number 7 here. And number 8, Giramonte, first start on dirt since last February.
Yeah, and the races on dirt left a little bit to be desired. This time of year, you're going to see a lot of this. People having to give a horse a chance on the dirt because we don't have turf until late March, early April.
No Crazy Blues, not by the King of New York, Freud. He's by Leoban.
Yeah, it was real good sprinting 2 back. They tried stretching him out at Finger Lakes, a little bit of a freshening. He's not impossible at a big price.
Straight skinny, 44-1 maiden winner at Belmont in September. Not much sense.
Not much sense. It is going to have to improve.
Taco Bean, 7-length maiden winner in his 9th career start.
Yeah, and that was from maiden 25. Moves up into tougher company off a win.
A little different today. Tapazirans, contender on the outside, 15 start this year, 1 win thus far.
Yeah, and a horse that's tactical, should put himself in a good spot, and definitely a contender.
Color Me Patsy, My Purple Haze stable homebred.
Yeah, horse, it's interesting. He used to show a lot of speed, kind of lost a little bit of that speed, has closed decently at times. He's got to work out a trip from out there because he's like an in-betweener. He's not fast enough to clear. He's not slow enough to drop out where he can find the inside.
Jonathan Kinchin's still with us, JK. Like, nice, easy race to figure out to close the show at Aqueduct.
I'll tell you what, Lafitte, you set me up good there. This is one of those races where if you have a friend or someone you know who tells you they love a horse in this race, you hang up on them, you block them, you delete them, and you never speak to them again because they're lying to you. This is a very complicated race. If you told me you like someone, Lafitte, I would stay your friend, but that's just because we have history. The rest of these people who would tell me that, nope, they're out. I think the 13 makes a little bit of sense towards the outside. This is a horse that has a big race, two races back. Ran poorly last time, but, you know, at this level, this is why they're at this level. They're not the most consistent of types. So if you can just see a horse that has shown you at least once or twice that they can run, I think it makes a little bit of sense to try to get involved. So I thought the 13 Color Me Posy towards the outside made a little bit of sense, and it is a nice price. And then I'll give you a big one too, the 11 Taco Bean. It's another horse that ran well last time for maiden 25, ran off the screen. If you can win by 7 against any horses, you got a chance of winning this race, and he's a huge price on the board.
60-1, JK, when he graduated, Taco Bean. Today, at 34-1, another monster price as they have reached the starting gate. Final thoughts, Maggie Wolfendale.
Yeah, just want to touch on number 12, Tapazirans from the outside. First start for trainer Linda Rice, completely against the racetrack. That track playing very kindly to inside speed. He was chasing about 4 wide the entire way. He's never a horse that I'm going to like. He always looks a bit dull in his coat, but his weight looks good today. And while he's won his races at cheaper levels, he's run figures fast enough to be a player here. Lafitte.
See how it all shakes out. And a look there at number 12, Tapazirance. Maggie just touching on Jose Lezcano in the saddle on this dark, blustery afternoon, mid-December at the Big A. Some encouragement needed. Tapazirance to focus up and get into that starting gate for one final race. Final thoughts from you, Mig?
Yeah, I think it's a wide-open affair. It's going to be about trips. And, you know, I went to the horse that had a bit of a trip last time, the 3 Raven Rocks, got bounced around at the break and showed a lot of courage to win, albeit against lesser company.
Kendrick Carmouche aboard Raven Rocks, first half of the claim. George Weaver, still an issue here, and Lezcano, a stubborn Tapazirance trying to get him towards and loaded into the starting gate.
You know, and some horses will do this, right? They'll kind of sidle, they'll go sideways, and the gate crew knows them so well. So they'll let him sidle till he gets close, kind of give that little circle. Now you'll see them get behind him. Now, how brave and strong do you have to be to lock arms behind a 1,000-pound thoroughbred whose kick would be the equivalent of combining the 4 greatest heavyweight boxers in the world in one punch?
It sounds cliche, but again, unsung heroes of this sport. One final time, 9th and final, Chris Griffin with the call from Aqueduct.
And they're off. Big Brown Shoes has speed from in between horses, and there's Johnny Fontaine. Johnny Fontaine in Big Brown Shoes and a pace duel on the front end now. Tapazirance is securing the 3rd spot, is outside of Taco Bean. That's the front 4. Then to the far outside, Color Me Patsy has got some momentum in the 5th position. At the rail, Red Cap, that's Uncle George. Further back in the field comes Giramonte to the outside of Giramonte. Rallying on there is Mo Crazy Blues. Way out in the far outside here comes Straight Skinny towards the tail of the field. Reggae Music Man. In behind Reggae Music Man, Anything Possible. Then towards the back of the field, Raven Rocks. And at the back, that's No Salt. On the front end, it is Johnny Fontaine to the inside. Johnny Fontaine's got the lead. Here comes Big Brown Shoes and a big rally up on the outside. Color Me Patsy and also Tapazirance. Looks like Color Me Patsy to the outside has put a nose in front. Tapazirance is going right with this rival. Big Brown Shoes is back to 3rd. Out in the center of the racetrack still comes Color Me Patsy, and Color Me Patsy is in command as they approach the 8th pole. From the back of the pack, No Salt has got a ton of momentum. It's Color Me Patsy in front, but an oncoming No Salt is motoring down the racetrack. Here comes No Salt to the outside. No Salt gets up for the win. Color Me Patsy gets real tight here between Tapazirance and an oncoming Reggae Music Man in a photo in 1 minute 18.10 seconds.
No Salt, and beautifully timed ride, Dylan Davis. This is a gelding who won at 17-1 at Parks, second defeated a nose at 24-1 right here, and wins today at a price as well.
Here comes rallying down the center of the track, had 2 horses beat, turning for home, was spun out about 5 or 6 wide, and he comes with this resolute late rally. Mike Maselli was a terrific rider, rode holding pattern to victory in the 1974 Travers Stakes, and here comes Dylan Davis on No Salt. Nothing bland about this finish. And the 13, Color Me Patsy, he was wide throughout every step of the way, pressing the pace, ran a winning effort, just got mowed down late.
JK liked Color Me Patsy going in. He mentioned a couple of live long shots. This was one of them. And with the 16th of a mile, he's home. No Salt, who wasn't even in the picture, found another. It's time to take No Salt seriously. All he does is outrun his odds and run well.
No, absolutely. Watching that replay, the ISO there, too. This is why you go left-handed on horses. 13, Color Me Patsy, Eric Cancel, continuing with a right-handed crop, drifts in, watch his horse's head. He's going to reach and correct him. His head pulls him out there. When you're correcting, you're slowing a horse down. If you stay with your left-handed crop and you stay out, it also maybe impedes No Salt's forward progress a little bit within the boundaries of the rules. Stay out there where you're almost a little bit of a deterrence for them. Hitting right-handed and correcting at the same time, not a recipe for success.
What has worked is everything Dylan Davis has been doing, and I believe he is now the leading rider for this winter meet at Aqueduct. I believe that was his 9th win, Dylan Davis. The winter meet that just started, we've been here since fall, but the winter meet, this is just the 2nd week. And Dylan Davis riding well, and a beautiful one there with No Salt, and right there amongst the leaders early on.
Yeah, it's a long way to go, beginning of the meet, but you want to set a tone. Success breeds success. Dylan was having a good winter last year when he was injured. Almost think that injury may have helped him because it gave him an opportunity to kind of look at things removed a little bit and go, hey, I know what I got to do to get to the next level. And I'm seeing a rider that's getting to that next level.
Reset, refocus, and whatever he did, it's working and paying dividends. Dylan Davis, no salt, 7-1. We'll wrap it all up in this Saturday program from Aqueduct when we come back. Also, he is North America's all-time leading trainer, Steve Asmussen. 2021, he'll never forget. Not over. Asmussen about to unveil an expensive prospect at Oaklawn. Hot and sultry, 2-year-old fillies next at Oaklawn.
A Grade 1 winner on both dirt and turf, War of Will became a classic winner with this victory in the Preakness Stakes. And added a Grade 1 with turf credentials in the Maker's Mark Mile. A winner in Grade 1 placed at 2. Multiple graded stakes victor at 3 and Grade 1 winner again at 4. This son of Warfront has proven his class at every level. At Keeneland November, his first mares and foals sold up to $310,000. War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
That's just the craziest thing. It's just a You're watching America's Day at the Races, as always, brought to you in part by Hill and Dale at Alapa. Couple of races to clean up. 9 up and 9 down from Aqueduct. Dylan Davis, beautifully timed. No salt, 7-1. Color Pazzi, big effort, having to settle for second. And Maggie told you why you might have to worry about Reggae Music Man. And off the bench, a solid effort to complete the trifecta.
Yeah, big number for the exacta trifecta, round out the nightcap here at Aqueduct. Winner of the Fifth Avenue division, Yo Cuz to No Salt, second choice there. And congratulations to Dreammaker Stable, Tom Gallo with the filly that won the stake. And
that'll work.
Lower, these horses put on quite a show here. And man, you couldn't think that Dylan Davis could get there from this point with No Salt. He's making up ground with every stride, though, and comes down the center of the track under a relentless rally to get up late.
Did Color Pazzi think his job was done? Do you think he was waiting and caught off guard by No Salt, or did No Salt just go out and get him?
I think No Salt came and got him, but that's another reason why you try to stay out, so that your horse can feel a challenge and join in, meet the challenge. When they're separation like that, they don't really feel the presence of the horse if they are waiting.
Ambush him. No Salt. That was the biggest price in this late pick 5 sequence, over $3,200. No Salt, $1,660. Fun day of racing at Aqueduct. A couple of stakes races tomorrow. Live coverage right here on America's Day at the Races. For now, it's all Oaklawn all the time. Still have the Tinsel coming up, inaugural running with a $200,000 purse. Oaklawn Park, and 2-year-old fillies here. Maiden special weight. Who knows what kind of filly could emerge from this field with an $84,000 purse. 3/4 of a mile sprint. Scratch number 1, Fun Time Girl. We start with Hot and Sultry. The $475,000 purchase for trainer Steve Asmussen for the Lieblongs, Alex and Joan, but very cold on the board. Hot and Sultry 6-1, up there at 9-1. I promise you'll see her in the post parade. Meantime, the resort is gorgeous. There she is, Hot and Sultry, Francisco Arrieta. He's seeking a third win on the afternoon.
Yeah, expensive yearling purchase. This is the mare has produced 2 winners that both won on debut, so there's precocity in the family.
Chester Et, David and Holly Wilson's first-time starter.
Yeah, another one. 59-1 gate work. That's a fast gate work for this daughter of Practical Joke. Mare also had 1 debut winner in Patrol.
Runaway wife, you had me at Gunrunner.
Gunrunner, one of the hottest first crop sires ever, comes in off a very sharp work at Keeneland.
The Gang That Sang, a debuting filly for trainer Joe Sharp.
Another one with a very nice work tab. McLean's music was brilliant, taking no money.
Mig knew how to give one of these. Icy stare down Florent Giroux rides.
It seems like I kind of had that look on my face a little too much, but horse taking money from Top Connections.
It's a hangry look. Mommy's Got to Run. Tom Amos has the experience in her corner.
And adds blinkers and has shown speed. You'd think the blinkers would intensify that speed.
Peace Peddler, Ricardo Santana, riding for Richie Baltus, first-time starter by Gunrunner.
Yeah, a mare that had 3 falls to race, 2 winners. She was a graded stake winner herself. And Gunrunner, 22% with his first-time starters.
And uninhibited on the outside, David Cohen in the saddle for Robertino Diodoro.
Good connections. Not necessarily noted Robertino Diodoro for winning with first-time starters.
That is the field. These 2-year-old fillies maiden special weight, 6 furlong sprint. Gary, we were going to start with the expensive Steve Asmussen trained filly Hot and Sultry with the scratch of Fun Time Girl. She will break from the rail with Francisco Arrieta. What are some of the challenges in terms of riding a young horse, a first-time starter, and having to deal with the fence?
Well, notoriously, Steve Asmussen's horses are very well schooled away from the starting gate, and a majority of them have worked behind other horses in the morning, maybe 1 or 2 other horses, but they've never felt the kickback from 7 other horses. So it's kind of catch-22. You want to get a good break, but you don't want to overdo it, because if you overdo it, then you can sometimes get caught up in a speed duel that teaches the horse bad habits, that they won't come back to you and relax. And that carries over into their second, third start, and takes some time to recover and reteach them of what you've done wrong or a rider has done wrong in that first start. So you want a nice smooth break, an even tempo, come away from their running, but not to overdo it. And Hot and Sultry, Chesterette, the filly directly to or outside, both of them look great in the paddock. Bart Hone, the trainer of Chesterette, a lot of people don't know who he is. Fortunate enough to grow up with him in Boise, Idaho, and I've known Bart since I was a small kid, and Bart was young trainer and a very, very good horseman. I know how he does things. She looks great in the paddock. And then what can you say about Steve Asmussen other than he's in the Hall of Fame and knows how to get first-timers ready? But they're very well educated going out for the first race, but I'm sure that Richie will agree with me that this is a first time out is also a learning experience, and you want them to come away with a great experience so they improve their second out. Now, whether they win or not, if they're good enough to overcome some of the trips that you get down inside, then they're special kind of horses. Guys?
Gary, thanks so much. Yeah, what's that all about, Rich? You know, good experience versus a poor experience for a young, developing, debuting first-time starter.
Well, I'd always rather see a horse gain experience by taking the kickback that Gary talked about. And he talked about the kickback in the morning with 1 or 2 horses in a controlled environment. You're not going as fast in the morning as you're going to go in the afternoon, too. So the kickback doesn't come back with the same ferocity that it does in the afternoon when they're going a quarter in 22 or 21 and change. But get a horse educated. Get a little dirt in their face, kind of let them see a few different situations, finish with good energy without getting, overridden or, ridden too hard where it's a bad experience where they come out of it a little sour on racing. Make it a fun experience for them and something they can build on. That's what helps create a horse for a career. Hot and Sultry, like you said, comes from a barn that knows how to prepare first-time starters. Chesterette, I love the work pattern. I love when I see that big workout, 59-1 out of the gate, and then come back with a real slow maintenance move. It kind of smooths off the edges that the strong work might have put in a horse.
JK, some well-bred first-time starters, but the favorite has the experience, albeit just 1 race in her corner in Icy Stare Down.
Yeah, to me, the experience goes a long way when you're talking with about these maidens. We see it in the summer at Saratoga as well. The horses that have had a couple starts, I don't care how the fastest horse in the world is making their debut, it always seems the horses with experience seem to get the job done. And the thing I will say about Icy Stare Down is that she ran well, she was fast, she's been training well, she was bet that day, and it feels like the horse that won Parlance might be a good horse.
Strength of schedule. In her corner, Icy Stare Down. She is the favorite for Brad Cox, Florent Giroux. It is post time. These 2-year-old fillies sprinting in the mud at Oaklawn. Vic Stauffer standing by.
And the gang that sang, they're at the post. They're off. Chesterette and Peace Peddler break well. Peace Peddler to the front. Icy Stare Down and Mama's Got a Runner next. Then comes Hot and Sultry, Runaway Wife Between Horses, and the gang that sang, who had to check off heels, and the trailer is uninhibited. Peace Peddler, quickest up the backstretch, leads it by a length and a quarter to Mama's Got a Run in second. Then comes Chesterette, third at the rail and 2 from the front. Icy Stare Down is fourth with 2.5 lengths to make up. Hot and Sultry is fifth at the rail, 3 off the lead, then 2 back, 2. At the rail, Runaway Wife and the gang that sang, and now distantly last. It's uninhibited, many chances around the far turn. Peace Peddler, Chesterette drops back. Mama's Got a Run. Icy Stare Down in the center of the racetrack, and here comes a big move from Icy Stare Down to put ahead in front. Peace Peddler tries to battle back, but Icy Stare Down has made a strong move to now lead by 2.5 lengths. Peace Peddler, Mama's Got a Run, Hot and Sultry on the scene. Here's Hot and Sultry after Icy Stare Down. 16th out, Icy Stare Down. Hot and Sultry closing but running out of ground. Icy Stare Down, Hot and Sultry, Icy Stare Down. Icy Stare Down beat Hot and Sultry 3/4 of a length. Close for third, maybe Peace Peddler over Chesterette.
The Brad Cox, Steve Asmussen exacta. Icy Stare Down gives Hot and Sultry a menacing glare and puts her away to graduate in her second career start. Florent Giroux, Brad Cox piling up the wins together at Oaklawn.
Well, that experience that Jonathan talked about, she had the race under her belt. She made this nice wide run, and she beat 3 first-time starters that were all very well meant. The Steve Asmussen runner had to extricate herself from the rail. The number 2, Hot and Sultry, Alex and Joanne LeBlanc, perennially one of the leading owners at Oaklawn Park. I thought the 3, Chesterette, ran really well, kind of trying to come through inside. She was a little bit intimidated, and Peace Peddler, high speed from that gun runner filly.
The results forthcoming. Steve Asmussen, Hot and Sultry. She was cold on the board but ran big. And for Asmussen, the stars of his stable. What are the plans moving forward? Midnight Bourbon. Looks like he'll be a serious player in the older horse division in 2022. That's next.
Hands down, one of the most impressive horses I've ever seen physically.
Independence Hall is pouring it on here in the Nashua Stakes. Won by maybe a dozen lengths.
Independence Hall wins the Hagyard Fayette.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Smile Happy was a TDN rising star following his maiden win at Keeneland. From there, he captured the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes to remain undefeated and earning points toward the Kentucky Derby. In Future Pool 1, Smile Happy was individual leader by lowest odds. Among the top of his crop by stakes winners and earnings, Run Happy continues his rise and is priced for success. Call today and book your mare to Red Hot Sire Run Happy, standing in legendary Stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport.
And no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
In the winner's circle, for Gold Square LLC, Paul Braverman, winning owners. Trainer Brad Cox, Florent Giroux, icy stare down favorite, delivers in the 7th at Oaklawn, victorious in her 2nd career start.
I think she beat a nice field here, too. This daughter of Frosted. Frosted's quietly putting together a nice resume as a stallion, too. And she's just kind of skipping over the top of the ground. And you saw about midway of the far turn, Lafitte, that she was going to be very, very difficult. Congratulations to Gold Square and Paul Braverman. They got a nice filly on their hands.
$425,000 purchase, $475,000 purchase, hot and sultry and cold on the board. The connections, you figure if the Asmussen runner's live, you're going to see it in the wagering. Cold, 9-1, and runs very well for her debut. Look out for her moving forward.
Yeah, I think she ran it really well because she kind of had to get herself out of a tricky spot, get to the clear, ran on. Peace Peddler, high speed. Horse to keep an eye on, Chester Rhett, the 3-horse, seemed pretty intimidated inside and was just nosed out for the show spot.
7 down, 3 left. Oaklawn featured event will be the 9th race, inaugural running of the Tinsel Stakes. The 8th race looks like that. Good allowance sprint in the mud, 3-year-olds and older. CZ Rocket, who we were looking forward to seeing, is out. A big scratch, CZ Rocket. Mucho, familiar name. 5-2. Country final drawn inside at 3-1. That's the 8th race coming up at Oaklawn Park. Trainer Steve Asmussen, who just had that 2nd place finisher in the previous race at Oaklawn Park. We touched on the story with he and Brad Cox. It's going right down to the wire in terms of earnings in 2021 between those two fine trainers, and his stable is loaded moving forward here, Richie. The 3-year-old's turning 4, the 2-year-old filly turning 3, starting with Midnight Bourbon, who had given essential quality, all he could handle in the Run Happy Travers. A little disappointing to close out the season, but gearing up for a big 4-year-old campaign.
Yeah, and you would think, coming from the Steve Asmussen barn, he's a horse that will improve. Steve's horses get better. Think Gunrunner as a 4-year-old.
Mm-hmm. And this was the Pennsylvania Derby. What happened with the Hot Rod Charlie inside, Midnight Bourbon on the outside?
You see Hot Rod Charlie, he was already staying wide from the rail. The inside wasn't the place you wanted to be that day at Parks. But he kind of got a little lost out there, and he jumped to his right lead a little prematurely off the turn, and just the centrifugal force of getting to your right lead is going to carry you out. And he kind of gave Midnight Bourbon a little bit of a hip check. These two had a history already. Midnight Bourbon getting the worst of it at Monmouth when Hot Rod Charlie drifted over and he clipped his heels. So I think, Midnight Bourbon probably has a right to have a little bit of a grudge against Hot Rod Charlie, who was your Vox Populi winner. Thug.
Ken, 2021. Vox Populi Award winner Hot Rod Charlie for Steve Asmussen, and some of the significant wins this year, becoming North America's all-time leading trainer. Echo Zulu, we look forward to seeing her in her 3-year-old filly season. Clariere here, Richie, who finished 4th in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, and he's always felt she really has a big one, a big win in her. Beautifully, beautifully bred. Look forward to seeing her as a 4-year-old filly, Clariere, one of the stars of the Asmussen stable.
Yeah, absolutely. Big run here at Parks that day. Kind of got the trip you needed that day. The wide rally out towards the middle of the track. Got pace to run at, too. A filly that likes to run at pace. They put her in positions at times where she's the one who's had to do the dirty work, kind of keeping other horses honest. She's better when she's allowed to drop out and come with one run, and which she did this day. And again, with her pedigree, you have to believe, being by Crone, she is going to improve as she gets older. This was a breakout performance to me. Again, she got the right kind of setup. I do think she's a filly that's better when she just gets to make the one run.
Beautifully bred, as you mentioned, by Curlin, out of cavorting for Stone Street, Clariere. So Asmussen locked and loaded, looking ahead to 2022. That was the first Grade 1 victory of her career. Gary Stevens, the 2-year-old filly Steve Asmussen trains, Echo Zulu, piling up Grade 1 victories in the early stages of her career. The odds-on favorite to win an Eclipse Award naturally, winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Looking ahead, what do you make of Echo Zulu as an individual? What are you expecting from her next season as a 3-year-old filly?
Lafitte, she's just actually poetry in motion to watch. Her stride, her efficiency, everything about her. Her first race, she looked like she'd done it, been there, almost reincarnated from another horse from the past because of the experience level that she was at. And she's improved with every one of her races leading up to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. And she just absolutely toyed with that bunch in there. I think that she's not only going to win the Eclipse Award this year. I think she's the front runner right now, as things stand, as your favorite for the Kentucky Oaks. And I think she's going to improve as a 3-year-old filly. She's improved with every one of her races, and that's something to look forward to. Listen, these connections, they were never afraid to run fillies against colts, and that's one thing that's disappointing to me is fillies cannot collect points on the road to the Kentucky Derby. So it's almost impossible that we'll ever see another filly be able to compete in the Kentucky Derby. But later on, down the road, later in 2022, I wouldn't be surprised to see her face the boys, and I think she'll more than hold her own with a group of 2-year-old colts versus 3-year-old or 2-year-old fillies moving to the 3-year-old year. So 2020, I think that's one of the things I'm looking forward to most, is watching her continue to move forward, hopefully stay healthy, and we're going to get a great 2022 out of Echo Zulu.
Joel Rosario just looking for competition in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. There was none. Were you at all surprised? Going around 2 turns, a mile and a 16th. Some thought that those could be some serious obstacles for Echo Zulu. Were you at all surprised that she was able to make it look that easy on that stage against that competition?
No, I really wasn't. And the way that she did it, she was almost beholder style. When I watched it again this morning, that's exactly who I thought of when I saw her float in. She is so sudden from the starting gate, and then she's able to dictate the fraction. She had her ears up early on, listening to everything that Joel was telling her with his hands, his body language. He sat still on her. He made a little bit of a move around the turn. She hit that gear. He let her float, and she has so many gears, and she really just, when she swapped into her right lead, turning into the stretch and lined out, she really leveled off, and she looked like there was plenty more if she was going to be challenged. So, no, I wasn't surprised. I was surprised how easily she won her first race, but she's continued to move forward off of all of her races.
Special filly, Echo Zulu Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly winner, likely champion and Eclipse Award winner, but it's not a given. You never know. The progression from 2 to 3, remember how good Vequist was last year. Didn't necessarily make that progression, so that'll be something to look forward to in terms of Echo Zulu. We know how good she was at 2. What will she do next season? We look forward to seeing in 2022. Look forward to the featured event at Oaklawn, the Tinsel in the 9th race. Much more from Hot Springs, Arkansas as our coverage continues. America's Day at the Races. Great to have you with us on Fox Sports 2 and SNY.
Spun to run. In the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, he defeated a loaded field that included multiple Grade 1 winners Omaha Beach and Improbable. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more. And he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, Breeders' Cup champion, spun to run, standing at Gainesway.
So glad you could join us on this Saturday afternoon. Live coverage continuing from Oaklawn, America's Day at the Races. Gary Stevens on site. Richard Migliore, I'm Lafitte Pinkai. Maggie Wolfendale said goodbye. Aqueduct is done. Checking with Jonathan Kinchins, who he likes in his 8th race at Oaklawn. 9th race to feature Tinsel. Here, we're looking forward to seeing CZ Rocket. He is out. So now a field of 7. There's the updated odds. Good allowance sprint with a $120,000 purse, Richie.
It's incredible. I mean, the purse structure there, that's a stake in a lot of jurisdictions, but that's why the racing is so competitive there. Big fields, and so many horses come from so many different jurisdictions to try to get their share of those purses.
$120,000. Gary's still with us while we're looking at County Final. Gary, coming off a win going 5/8 of a mile, how much of a difference is this? Gary's not with us just yet. Richie, I'll ask you, how much of a difference does that make? County Final coming off a win going 5/8 of a mile, now tackling this 3/4 of a mile distance.
Well, I mean, he's won at the distance before. I don't think the distance is an issue. I think having post 1 simplifies things. He showed really good speed last time going 5 furlongs. Got to use that speed again from the inside. You may not make the lead, but at least it makes the real speed use and spreads the field out a little bit, gives you options.
Some experience drawn inside of horses, while County Final, that last win was from the 2-hole, and now dealing with the fence today. But having been down there before and accustomed to having some of that traffic towards the outside.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, for me, when I would go into a situation like this and I had a horse that I knew possessed enough speed to protect my inside position, I was going to use it. It just made it simpler for me. I said, okay, I'm going to go forward. I don't want that wave of horses from the outside to fold over and envelop me.
That's the conversation here. Gary Stevens is with us. The difference between 5/8 of a mile and 3/4 of a mile for Country Final, and Brian Hernandez breaking from the rail in his 8th race at Oaklawn.
Well, I'm no mathematician, but a furlong difference is the difference between 5 furlongs and 6 furlongs. No, seriously. This horse, he's only tried 6 furlongs one time on the dirt, and that was his second out of his life. He was thrown to the wolves in the Bashford Manor, a stake race, and he was 16-1 that day and actually ran a decent race. And I think just because of circumstances has been kept at these shorter distances. He's actually tried 6.5 furlongs to no avail, but I think this horse is probably, to me, looks better on dirt, and especially a wet surface like he's going to get today. So my approach would always be just stay out of their way. Don't try and take them out of their game. Sometimes you get in a fight with one early on, trying to slow them down, knowing that you've got an extra furlong to go. And if you get in a fight with one, you're going to tire them out. So just stay out of their way. Hope that they relax for you on the lead or thereabouts. He's shown that he can lay second, still run well, and be competitive. So that was my goal, is just to stay out of their way and be a good passenger and try and make them happy, Lafitte.
See if Brian Hernandez can keep County Final happy in the early stages of this 3/4 of a mile sprint by Oxbow, who Gary won a Preakness with. County Final pictured for Steve Asmussen. And it's just amazing when you think back to he's trained some of the very best horses over the last quarter century. Steve Asmussen, Curlin comes to mind, and Rachel Alexandra, but just these sprinters, the sprinters alone. What we saw from Jackie's Warrior this year, Matoli, and I'm sure I'm forgetting 10 others.
Sure. I mean, yeah. Well, you know what it is? A lot of it is just how well schooled they are, how well broken they are. A lot of these horses come through his dad, Keith Asmussen's training center in Laredo, Texas. They're just so well schooled, and they're so professional and proficient at getting away from the gate, getting position going forward. And one thing that Steve always talks about is setting horses up to succeed, putting them in a position to succeed and playing to their strength.
How do his horses seemingly, and I don't know if there's a scientific explanation, how do his horses seemingly progressively get better with age?
Well, he only prepares them to do what's right in front of them. So there's always going to be another challenge, and they'll prepare them for the next challenge. They're not getting him ready for a Grade 1 effort in a maiden race. They're getting him ready for a Grade 1 effort in a Grade 1 race.
Remember Gunrunner, he ran 3rd in the Kentucky Derby, and Asmussen was, just wait. Just wait. Horse that ran 3rd in the Kentucky Derby and a shadow of what he would eventually become during his 4-year-old campaign, that assault the second half of the season, the Breeders' Cup Classic win, and eventually closing out his career with the victory in South Florida in the Pegasus.
It's a long game here. Of course you want to win every start, but you also want a horse that's going to continue to improve and win as they go forward.
If you're feeling confident here about Asmussen and County Final, you need to fire up that NYRA Bets account. You can sign up today, play all the action on our program. And more while earning up to a $200 deposit match bonus. New members use promo code BONUS200 when signing up and earn up to a $200 deposit match after your first deposit. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Join now at NairaBets.com to earn your $200 deposit match. Gearing up for the post parade, this 8th race, this high-quality sprint. Again, the big defection with CZ Rocket, who is out. 7 of them sprinting in the mud, $120,000 purse, and another look at County Final.
County Final quick from the rail. It's Brian Hernandez making his Oaklawn Park debut today. Looks sharp on the racetrack.
West Point Thoroughbred colors, Sir Alfred James, pictured for Norman Cash.
Does his best running when he's involved, showed no speed in the fall highway when he was coming back on 11 days shipping to New York, carrying 131 pounds. If he can rebound and find his speed, he'll be forward.
It's the first start on a wet track for him, not for long-range Toddy, off the board in 4 appearances on wet tracks.
Yeah, now he's kind of become a sprinter, but this is a horse that won the Rebel Stakes back in 2019 under the ageless John Court, who continues to keep them out here.
That beat Improbable, feels like 1,000 years ago. American Mandate, 2nd and 2 for Steve Asmussen.
Yeah, another horse that can be forward, more of a stalking type. Returns as a first-time gelding, though.
Number 5, Royal Daher, been a productive afternoon for Francisco Arrieta.
Yeah, and a horse that, is versatile, has shown speed at times, but is comfortable, too, if they get away from him early.
Knee-deep in snow for Mike Maker, Ricardo Santana.
Well, it won't be too long before we're knee-deep in snow here, and a horse that is a hard knocker, consistent, has never run at Oaklawn or on a wet track.
Now a 5-year-old, Mucho, the 2-to-1 favorite, 3 minutes out.
Yeah, a horse that has some speed, this Claiborne Farm bred, Dill Schneider, but is tactical and probably is going to be sitting the perfect trip from the outside.
2-to-1 choice, Raylo Gutierrez, Mucho, the choice here. In this 8th race at Oaklawn Park, 2-to-1. 3/4 of a mile dash. Where do you expect Mucho to be placed early on, that outside post? It feels like a cozy spot in terms of race shape and where it'll be.
I think he's laying 3rd in the catbird seat in the perfect stalking, striking position. I do think that the 2-horse Sir Alfred James will find his speed. That's the way he runs best, when he kind of freewheels on the lead. County Final's got to hold his inside position.
J.K., how about the gelding we're looking at here? Knee-deep in snow in Ricardo Santana. What are you expecting?
Well, first of all, we are knee-deep in snow here in Saratoga, so maybe it is coming down state to you guys as well. This is a horse, to be honest, when I first looked at this race, I wanted to focus on the scratched horse, the 8, CZ Rocket, the 7, Mucho, and then I looked at knee-deep in snow one more time. This is a horse that was out in California with a trainer that, in my opinion, is not as good as Mike Maker. This horse had some nice races for that trainer. Now he's in the barn of Mike Maker, and Mike Maker thought enough of this horse to claim him for $80,000. That's a high claiming number if you're new to the game. Doesn't happen very often. Mike must think this horse can run a little bit. I think this horse will take a step forward. Tried the turf last time. That didn't work out. Now gets on the dirt. I think this horse is very live in here. 7, Mucho. I've always thought Mucho was good. When he won at Saratoga, he had my attention. Let's see if he can find that old form.
The Wayback Machine, J.K., it does. It feels like so long ago between Mucho and a big win as a young prospect at Saratoga, and same with Long Range Toddy. You touched on the Rebel. That was when they had to split the race, and racing wasn't being contested at Santa Anita. You had a lot of the California shippers, the 2 divisions of the Rebel that took place. Long Range Toddy, who upset at the time, who was the early favorite, Improbable, in that first division of the Rebel a few years back at Oaklawn Park. You're looking at Sir Alfred James. He knows Long Range Toddy well. Go back to their most recent effort, couple of starts back. Sir Alfred James, who was able to beat Long Range Toddy Ritchie at Churchill Downs mid-November.
Yeah, was able to hold him off, but Sir Alfred James got everything his own way. He blasted out of the gate. He was 2 in front throughout. 7/8 might have been pressing him to his outer limits, but this is a horse that does his best work when he's freewheeling on the lead. Certainly had the right rider this day, John McKee, a rider that will allow horses just to kind of bowl along. David Cabrera, a very versatile rider, a rider that will fit the horse, more of a chameleon, if you will. But Long Range Toddy had his chances, going 7/8, just ran out of ground, could not quite get by Sir Alfred James. A lot depends on what happens with the horse just inside of Sir Alfred James, and that's County Final. How engaged do they get? Do they help set it up for Long Range Toddy's late run? Also, long-range Toddy's going to be inside of horses. Mucho's going to be in that perfect position outside, and it's the rider's job on the outside horse, Raylu Gutierrez, to make it as hard as he can on the inside riders within the boundaries of the rules. That is a jockey's job.
Are we simply ignoring the effort in the Grade 3 fall high-weight handicap? You're looking at long-range Toddy, but Sir Alfred James, who was the favorite on that afternoon, and faltered.
Well, I look at it this way. He ran so big in November 6th in the Beto Sunshine, got beat in the neck, ran the entire race, was engaged the whole way. Came back 11 days later and wins at Churchill in a hard-fought victory. Comes back 11 days after that, shipping from Kentucky to New York. At some point, the well runs dry. And I just think it was too much in too short a period of time.
Okay, so now it's not as if there's been an extended period of time between that most recent effort. Are you at all concerned that still fatigue might be a factor for Sir Alfred James?
It's a very, very strong possibility that because it's less than a month, and now he shipped from New York probably back to Kentucky, then to Arkansas. It takes a lot out of certain horses, particularly a horse that puts so much into his races. He's a horse that lays it down every single time. He's not saving anything. Some horses can take it because they're not always all in. This is a horse that goes all in.
You watch a major league pitcher, for example, and some of them, their delivery, so fluid, it's an easy 98, easy 98. You can tell it's not a max effort. And then you watch a Clayton Kershaw, or some of these other pitchers, a Max Scherzer, that puts so much into each and every pitch. Horses can very much be similar in that capacity.
Oh, absolutely, and particularly a horse that runs the entire race. You know, a horse that's more of a closing sprinter, makes 1/4 of a mile run, they're running hard. I'm not belittling what they're doing, but it's harder on the horse that has to run the entire race. The horse that, like a Sir Alfred James, who wants to be involved, wants to fight you for it. He doesn't make it easy on himself, that's for sure.
Sir Alfred James, and sure, that was a Grade 3 event, the Fall Highweight Handicap. These are stakes runners. It's not a stakes race. That's next, the Tinsel. Stakes caliber in terms of competition, and that's what happens when you offer a $120,000 purse like you have in this sprint.
Well, he was favored in the Fall Highway, too.
Right.
I mean, he went off favored, off of very good form. But shipping, carrying a lot of weight, which everybody does in the Fall Highway, obviously. But, it'll be interesting to see. I think if Sir Alfred James brings his A game, he's going to be tough. But is he fatigued? Is he a horse at the end of a campaign?
Lots to look for right from the start. And Raylu Gutierrez on the favorite Mucho, who should be perched beautifully in that catbird seat, as Richie described it, with the favorite towards the outside. Vic Stauffer standing by as knee-deep in snow. JK says, look out, he's live. Coaxed forward. Mucho, the favorite, will be the last to load. Vic Stauffer standing by with the call. 8th race of 10 live from Oaklawn on America's Day at the Races.
They're at the post. They're off. Awkward start, knee-deep in snow. Good start. Long-range Toddy, Mucho in the center. County Final and American Mandate. Even Sir Alfred James is in that mix as well. So is Royal Daher. And the bad start has knee-deep in snow at the back of the pack, and he's climbing just a bit. So County Final will emerge with the lead from Sir Alfred James in second. County Final's a neck in front. Sir Alfred James is second by a length and a half to Mucho 3 wide, long-range Toddy at the rail, and between horses American Mandate. Royal Daher moves up, and here's Royal Daher now to be a joint third. 6 lengths last. Knee deep in snow, County Final confronted by Sir Alfred James. County Final half ahead. Sir Alfred James in second. Mucho in perfect striking position. He's 3 deep in third. 2 lengths further back to Royal Daher. Long range Toddy at the rail. Knee deep in snow and American Mandate end. County Final has the lead. Here comes Mucho in the center. Sir Alfred James is running a big one as well. And knee deep in snow is closing. Mucho strikes the front. It is Mucho now a length in front of County Final and Sir Alfred James. It is Mucho in front. Mucho won 3/4 of a length. County Final was second. Sir Alfred James third. Knee deep in snow. Pretty good fourth.
The trip and the talent. Mucho in this 8th race at Oaklawn. Winner's share of a $120,000 purse. Raylu Gutierrez, John Ortiz teaming up.
Very nice performance from Mucho to get his 7th career victory. Almost $700,000 in career earnings for this son of Blame, bred by Claiborne Farm and Adele Dilschneider. Comes down the middle of the track under strong handling by Raylu Gutierrez. A little bit unlucky for the one. County final. Ducked in a little bit at the break, had to be used to get his, and really was very game. Sir Alfred James and he put on their own little battle. County final got the best of him, but could not hold off Mucho. Runner-up in the Hopeful several years back.
It's been a while. It's been a while. 5 years old, still going strong by a former champion older horse, Breeders' Cup Classic winner Blame, Claiborne Stallion. Mucho in the 8th at Oaklawn. Solid effort. Sir Alfred James and County Final. Also knee-deep in snow with an awkward beginning. When we return, the Hall of Famer, Todd Pletcher, one of the finest trainers in the sport, looking to close out 2021 in a productive way. Feature tomorrow at Aqueduct, and Bourbonic upset winner of the Wood Memorial.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne Stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
How do you become the gold standard in racing partnerships? One horse, one partner, one victory at a time. Congratulations to all our partners who have made West Point the gold standard for the last 3 decades.
Maximum Security proves he's the real deal with a gate-to-wire win in the Florida Derby.
Champion 3-year-old.
Maximum Security has won the TVG.com Haskell Invitational.
11 triple-digit buyers.
Maximum Security, he smoked them in the Cigar Mile.
Grade 1 winning 4-year-old.
Maximum Security takes them all the way in the TVG Pacific Classic.
Secure your mare's future. Maximum Security.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
You're watching America's Day at the Races, as always. Brought to you in part by Run Happy. Champion sprinter, always race medication-free. Breeders' Cup Sprint champ is a 3-year-old. Stands in stall 1 at legendary Claiborne Farm. How impressive was the Run Happy that won earlier today?
Ooh, man, he was really good here at Aqueduct. Ran fast,
Happy medium?
Too. Happy medium.
Look out for him moving forward. Not sure if these sprinters here were Run Happy fast, but a solid performance by Mucho, entering the winner's circle in WSS Racing LLC, 4G Racing LLC. John Ortiz, former Grade 1 winner at Saratoga. Mucho and Raylo Gutierrez in the 8th of 10 at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, and I remember Mucho as a 2-year-old was a little bit, immature mentally, would get up in the air and want to rear up and do things the wrong way. He's certainly a mature, soon-to-be 6-year-old. All thoroughbred racehorses officially turn a year older on New Year's Day, even if their actual birthday isn't for a few months.
Raylo Gutierrez, Mucho, impressive in victory. That perfect trip towards the outside. And, yeah, a couple of things to look back on. County Final, who broke inward, leaving the gate. That cost him. Sir Alfred James, he could have packed it in. He brought it. He ran his race.
Yes.
And Knee Deep in Snow, who Jonathan liked as well, for the most part eliminated at the start with that funky beginning.
Yeah, and the start's so important no matter what the distance of the race. People put more of a premium on it in sprint races, but honestly, every race, I don't care if it's 2 miles, you want to get away cleanly because you get your horse to get into a rhythm and relax.
Looking forward to this one, Richie. First running of the Tinsel $200,000 purse feature at Oaklawn is next. Gotta love these rags to riches stories. Some of the most famous former claimers that went on to great things later on in their careers. Lava Man, one that certainly comes to mind out in California. The Great Mare Exchange, a former Claimer Grade 1 winner. The history of racing littered with these types of horses, but Lone Rock here again claimed for $40,000. All he has done since is bank more than $720K.
Just incredible. Jay Provenzano, and you know, a guy that loves the game, has been an Aqueduct regular for years, Flying P stable, and Randy Hill, now a partner in this horse. And the last time he ran a mile on the 16th, he won. I mean, they stepped him up to go further against better company, but it's not like he's incapable of winning at shorter distances.
Can you describe the level of pride for the horsemen involved? As you mentioned, the owners, or Robertino Diodoro, the trainer. When you claim a horse like this, and you can the horse, you reinvent them, and they go on to great things the way Lone Rock has.
Well, it feels like when horses get claimed, people are claiming them because they have an idea about that horse. They see something that they think they can improve on. And it's not, you know, an indictment of the other connections of the trainer. Just sometimes you spot something that you think, wow, you know, I think this horse will really appreciate, maybe it's going long, that his stamina is his strength. We're going to play to that. And then horses get good, and they change, they evolve. What a horse is today is not necessarily what he's going to be in 6 months. Could be better, could be worse. It's like the stock market. Stock rises, stock falls.
You couldn't see this coming with Lone Rock. Just like for trainer Todd Pletcher, he couldn't see, for example, Bourbonic shocking in the Wood Memorial as he did at Aqueduct right here this past spring. Bourbonic running in the feature tomorrow, the Queens County, here at the Big A. For trainer Todd Pletcher, not represented in the Tinsel Stakes, but he has had a massive year. It's Todd Pletcher. We expect it. We used to refer to him as a future surefire Hall of Fame trainer. Now we can drop the future part, inducted into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame this past summer at Saratoga. Great things in his future for those who have known him longest. Not a surprise in the least, certainly for his parents who could have seen greatness from a very early age in Todd Pletcher.
We was at La Mesa Park in New Mexico, and he was 8 years old, and they had a horse sale there, yearling sale. Todd said, "Dad, this lady wants to give me a horse. Her husband bought this horse out of the sale for $800, and she's going to give it away." He said, "Dad, this is a nice little horse. He's correct. Can I have him?" We took him and we broke him, and the first time we ran him for 25,000 claimant. They claimed the horse. He won, and he had 36,000 in the bank. And I said, "That's a good start on your college education right there."
I have never in my life been known except, "Oh, that's Todd Pletcher's mother." I have no identity. I'm just Todd Pletcher's mother.
Todd Pletcher had the work ethic, he had the energy, he was articulate, and I guess I could say he's pretty handsome too. But the big thing was he was a damn good horseman.
And Lucas must be proud of you people. I don't care how the
related. He is. We all saw him here at Belmont, and you can see that he's sort of taking pride in the fact that most of the guys that have worked for him are doing pretty well.
I used to say, "I'm going to have a name for you." You know, like all these big people have names, and, you know, Marvelous this, and this, Assessing, and this. I said, "You're El Duro." He said, "What does that mean?" I said, "El Duro is the person that is the tough one, the hardest one. The one that, like, if it's a group of people there and you point to them and say, that guy, he's El Duro."
Obviously, he's a very unique guy. He's hands-on on everything. You try to go into the computer, believe me, it's not going to work.
You know, Johnny and I were sort of coming along at the same time, so it just sort of evolved where Johnny was on the rise and our stable was growing.
The Shadow, Lights Town, Uncle Mo, English Channel, forward, Stay Thirsty, Alice Malice, Quality Road, Left Bank, Cross Traffic, Lawyer Ron, Wait a While, and it's going to be a filly in the Belmont.
To me, Rags to Riches was always the most exciting and funnest win that we've had. The Derby with Super Saver was almost like a relief. With Always Dreaming, we really felt like we had a huge chance, and it was extra special to win it with Johnny.
After all these races that we had won together, he had won the Derby with somebody else, I had won the Derby with somebody else. It felt right. It felt really, really right.
We've had a lot of starters in the Derby. I think we've had 59. But one thing I'm proud of is I think 29 of those have gone on to win stake races after the Kentucky Derbies.
And it's a vintage performance by Vino Rosso.
all the grade ones, the champion horses, the number of wins, the money earned, 14 training titles at Saratoga, and he's won 14 in 25 years.
The Lucas organization instilled early on is it's a team effort. I've been fortunate to have staff that has been with me for a long time and a good portion of the 25 years that's taken to get to this point. Without them, you can't make it work, and I also appreciate that some of them who have worked for me have gone on to do very well on their own. So Wayne Lucas has a pretty impressive family tree. Our branch has done pretty well on its own also.
The one thing I contribute to Todd's success is he's always known what he wanted to be, and Todd was a type that anything he set his mind to, he could do.
The first text I sent to him was to Todd and Tracy, congratulating both of them, because it's an amazing team effort. Tracy's involved in the business. If Todd works 20 hours a day, she probably works 21 hours a day. She deserves as much credit as he does.
It's hard because of a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifices. He always separates one with the other one. You know, his family's family and business is business.
There's some games that I missed, and there's some parties that I missed, and there's some school events that I missed that, you know, I wish I could have back. But on the flip side of that, I think the one thing that we get in this industry is the family can also share in a lot of the stuff that's going on. So, you know, the kids were able to spend summers working at the barn, and they were able to come in for the Derby and go to the big races. You know, it's not too often that your kids can come to your job, come to your office, and then share some of the big moments as well.
Really not much to say that hasn't already been said about Todd Pletcher. His accomplishments, the stats speak for themselves. Richie, what would you say, though, separates him from even other great trainers?
There's so many things, but the first thing that comes to mind is his consistency, his intensity and his consistency, attention to detail, and his tireless work ethic. You know, for somebody to put in as many hours as he does and then be a good husband, a good father, have that balance as well. You know, I remember trying to get interviews with him, and he'd go in that office at 10, and an hour and a half later, after being on the phone, he'd come out. So just an incredible work ethic.
Just look at some of those numbers. And the $419 million inducted into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame this past summer, like 7-time Eclipse Award winner, and all the Triple Crown wins, the Derbies, and this sort of, you have the dry sense of humor that we don't get to see in the interviews and that kind of thing quite as often as you would off camera. And also the memory for all the horses that he trains and all the different racetracks and venues, jurisdictions, whether they breeze that morning, they walk that morning, when the next race is incredible, his memory in terms of every individual that he happens to train, regardless of where they are, how quickly, how familiar he is with every single horse he trains, and how, you know, hundreds.
Well, Johnny just said it in the interview, how it's like a computer, and how no one else could do that. And he does have a great support system. I mean, it's just tremendous. You know, Tracy, his wife, and the family. It's a wonderful thing. Couldn't be prouder of him. Known him since he was basically a kid as an assistant to Wayne.
Team effort, and for Todd Pletcher, again, inducted into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame this summer. Probably the win with Bourbonic alone would have been good enough for entry into the Hall of Fame. This past spring in the Wood Memorial, a massive upset. Bourbonic, who did run in the Kentucky Derby, hasn't won since that Wood Memorial, Richie, but we'll have a chance to see him in the Queens County tomorrow afternoon.
Well, he's coming back to the scene of his greatest victory here at Aqueduct. He's coming out of the Discovery, where he was, you know, fairly well beaten by Miles D.
Bourbonic, how was he able to do this on this particular afternoon? Bourbonic, deep closer with Kendrick Carmouche at a massive price.
Well, and particularly because there was really no pace on whatsoever. I mean, they went a half and 50. The track was on the dull side. He sat back there. He saved ground until he started to angle out, looking for room. And, you know, right about here, you know, I know Kendrick Carmouche is thinking, all right, we're running on. We can get a piece of this. And sometimes your best rides are when you're thinking you're just going to get a check, and then you happen to get the big check. And Bourbonic came with a big run this day. He's going to have to do it again, though. I mean, he just really hasn't put a race together of this enormity since.
Yeah, 13th in the Kentucky Derby. Mixed it up with some of the best 3-year-olds in the country. Can he reach back, find the stuff good enough to beat that field tomorrow in the Queens County?
Well, he's facing some pretty tough older horses, too. I mean, it's, you get some horses that are hard knocking, either higher price claimers or horses that are just on the cusp, but they are older horses that are hickory. They're going to show up. They're going to make you work for it. They're not going to give it to you.
Gravesend tomorrow afternoon and the Queens County. That was an exciting moment, though. And just Kendrick Carmouche, the opportunity he rode in his first Kentucky Oaks, in his first Kentucky Derby. All right, so those horses didn't win, but the experience, just watching how much fun he had during that experience, that was entertaining in itself.
Sometimes you got to enjoy the journey as much as the destination.
And we saw that.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
saw that from Carmouche this spring at Churchill Downs. First Oaks ride, first Derby ride. Bourbonic in tomorrow's Queens County right here at Aqueduct. Still have the featured event coming up from Oaklawn. Lone Rock, the former $40,000 claimer, the morning line favorite, currently 6-5. Horses are in the paddock for the first running of the Tinsel. Updated odds there. Lone Rock 6-5. Warriors Charge at 5-2. But Lone Rock, who has been a long distance machine at his very best at marathon distances, how will he handle the shorter distance on this afternoon? We'll find out in about 11 minutes. The Saturday feature from Oaklawn is next. Lone Rock 6-5.
This is the horse.
He is just too good.
This is the horse who became only the second champion 2-year-old to win the Travers in 3 decades. This is the horse who is the only Breeders' Cup juvenile hero ever to lift the Belmont Stakes. History-making brilliance. That's his essential quality. Essential quality. This is the horse. Just imagine.
Live look, Oaklawn Park, Hot Springs, Arkansas. You're watching America's Day at the Races, as always. Brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. And this is the one we've been looking forward to. The Tinsel Stakes in a post-parade $200,000 purse first running. 3-year-olds and up. 1.1 miles in a distance, a big part of the story. We'll see how Lone Rock looks in the post-parade, but we start with Huge Bigley drawn inside. Raylo Gutierrez looking for back-to-back wins.
Yeah, stepping up in company. He looks like he's very much on his toes on the racetrack for trainer John Ortiz.
He is a 3-time winner at the distance. It's just that he's been doing his damage much farther recently.
Yeah, no doubt. Lone Rock is just a hickory tough horse, earned over $1 million. I'm a fan.
Bo Luminari, Ricardo Santana, 12-1.
Closer would like to see things heat up on the front end to try to help set up a late run.
Ricardo Santana to Pilot, number 4, title ready for Dallas Stewart. 28th lifetime start, now a 6-year-old.
Yeah, had a start under his belt, closed well in November, and could improve off of that effort.
Tenfold for Steve Asmussen. Winchell Thoroughbreds. Louis Contreras to ride this afternoon.
Horse that had shown so much promise, was on the Derby Trail. Never really quite fulfilled it, but then when you look down, he's an earner of almost, over $1,200,000.
Diodoro has Lone Rock, also has Thomas Shelby, an absolute win machine.
10-time winner from 23 starts, and he likes to kind of freewheel on the lead.
Warriors Charge has done some of his very best work here at Oaklawn.
Was beating a nose last time at Keeneland. Last time they met with Thomas Shelby. He's going to be right on top of the pace. He's close. He likes Oaklawn. Great connections. He's going to be tough.
2-1, Warriors at Charge. Exciting addition, this first running of the Tinsel Stakes, $200,000 purse. And as always, we invite you to join us at Naira Bets and the sign-up bonus. Watching all of our action today and more while earning up to a $200 deposit match bonus. New members, you're going to use that promo code BONUS200 when signing up and earn up to a $200 deposit match after your first deposit. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Join now at NairaBets.com to earn your $200 deposit match. 7-5, Richie. Lone Rock feels about right strategically off the cutback in distance. What do you think Ramon Vasquez wants to do early on?
Well, I don't think he wants to give him too much to do. I mean, he's not going to be a part of the pace, but I think he'd like to have him within calling distance of the leaders and find that pocket trip and then try to find live cover, a horse that you can follow, your full back that's going to take you through the line.
And Gary, Diodoro does not at all seem concerned about the cutback in distance and says, do not be surprised if this turns out to be a springboard towards a Grade 1 appearance for Lone Rock in 2022.
Well, I think he's going to have to get around his other horse, Thomas Shelby. I'm seeing something in Thomas Shelby. He's been good all year long. He was blossoming in the fall. It's wintertime now. This horse looks like $1 million. I think if he can clear early, I'm worried about Warriors Charge, putting some pressure on him early on, but if he gets a breather anywhere down the backside, remember that race at Saratoga, he won by 4.5 lengths, going a mile and an eighth? I can see the same thing happening here, and at the price he's at right now, I'm going to use my account, and I'm going to put a couple bucks on him. Guys?
Gary firing away. Thomas Shelby, what do you think, Mig? The other Diodoro in the Tinsel.
You got to respect them. Horses that have a winning habit, you have to respect them. This horse is 10 for 23 lifetime. He's a horse that creates his own trip. Warriors Charge, listen, he stretched him every inch of the way here, but Thomas Shelby was game, and they set legitimate fractions that day as well as in his next start. I mean, he may be a horse that's even actually a little better, going a little faster. Some horses don't change gears. They stay on doggedly. Their stamina is their strength. And looking at Thomas Shelby's races, when he goes 23 and change, 46 and change, which is fast for 2 turns, he continues. He's definitely an interesting player. And listen, Gary's opening up the billfold, so I gotta elevate him.
Thomas Shelby with David Cohen. JK looking at Warriors Charge and Florent Giroux. It'll be interesting to watch. Cohen on Thomas Shelby from the start and Giroux with Warriors Charge.
It's funny that Richie says that about Thomas Shelby. Obviously, I'm close to the guys at 10 strike, and I felt the same way about Warriors Charge. He's better going faster. And I also think about Warriors Charge is although it seems that, he's had some big races at a mile and a 16th, I still think his Preakness going a mile and 3/16 was one of his best races. I still think his Stephen Foster, where he missed the break going 9 furlongs, was one of his best races. I think there's this expectation that Warriors Charge wanted to cut back, and I think all along Warriors Charge has wanted more ground. The biggest issue is what Richie said, is that Thomas Shelby probably better going faster, Warriors Charge probably better going faster, and if they're both going fast, they're not going to get a breather. They're going to be looking in each other in the eyes and could potentially set it up for a horse like Lone Rock. Now, I will tell you this. Lone Rock, although he has run well at these shorter distances, he's turned into a specialist going longer. And this is coming from someone who made an absolutely huge wager on Lone Rock in the Breeders' Cup for the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge. He scares you every time in the race because he doesn't have that turn of foot. He just keeps grinding and grinding and grinding, and that is a little bit of a concern for me. Maybe he gets a setup and that grinding style helps, but I'm going to go with the 7 Warriors Charge. I think he's better than Thomas Shelby, and I think that he can rate if he doesn't make the lead, and I'm hoping that he just gets to the wire right before Lone Rock realizes that the race is about to be over.
So, J.K., quickly, maybe I'm making this too simple, but taking a step back, just big picture, as Warriors Charge emerges as a 9-5 favorite. Now Lone Rock 9-5. Lone Rock wins a lot. Thomas Shelby wins a lot. Warriors Charge has not crossed the wire in front in a long, long time.
Yeah, no, it's a good question, Lafitte. I think the difference to those scenarios is Lone Rock wins a lot, going 12 furlongs and beyond. Those are his big wins. Those are those grindy things where he gets to show his stuff. I don't think that Lone Rock will lose a 1.5-mile dirt race between now and his retirement. I think he was completely unlucky when he lost at Belmont in September. I don't think that'll happen again. So I think that he's been winning because he's doing what he loves and what he's best at. Today, it's not exactly what he loves, what he's best at. Thomas Shelby's been winning because he's been running in starter allowance races, non-winners at 2, starter allowance races. Warriors Charge has been losing because he's been running against Mind Control, Art Collector, Maxfield, Silver State, Mr. Money, Vacoma, By My Standards, War of Will. That's why he's losing lots of races.
And that edge and strength of schedule and competition, JK. And then, Richie, we touched on this at the top of the show. Something to follow as we wind down 2021. And this chase in terms of earnings for trainers and two of the very best in the game. And that's how close it is. Brad Cox, Steve Asmussen with Tenfold, Brad Cox with Warriors Charge.
I mean, this is going to go down to the wire. This will go to December 31st. If there's night racing, they'll have horses entered someplace on New Year's Eve, late into the evening. $400,000 basically, roughly separating these two guys. If either one of them wins here, they're adding $120,000 to their coffers. So, I mean, this is going to go down to the wire. Huge ramifications for who's going to be the Eclipse Award winning trainer.
Outstanding trainer of 2021, considering what Steve Asmussen has accomplished. Massive year and becoming North America's all-time leading trainer. Tom Amoss had a quote about Brad Cox this summer at Saratoga that just sticks. He was talking about Brad Cox's season, and he said he has had a Hall of Fame career this past year. Like, that's how good Cox's barn and the kind of success he's had over the last couple of years.
It's really remarkable when you think that, like, what these two guys have done, and now throw in Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher and trainers like this. I mean, it's incredible the statistics that these guys continually put up, and this is going to be an interesting run down to the wire with these two, and I do think whoever winds up on top will win the Eclipse Award. Quickly getting back to Lone Rock, something came to mind as we were talking, and Jonathan talking about him being a specialist, and I agree. His strength is his stamina and running long. If you had to compare him to a European horse that's a specialist, like a Stradivarius, a horse that is noted for being a long-winded, stamina-based horse, a horse that runs these marathons, Lone Rock's out on the dirt in this country. We don't run them as many of those long races, but we have more of a comprehensive series of races at 1.5 miles, 1.5 furlongs. Think back years ago, races like the San Juan Capistrano 1.75 miles, that was on turf down the hill. But he's definitely a specialist, and I think at a short price, he's vulnerable here.
He is the favorite again. Diodoro wasn't concerned as a 3-time winner at the distance, but better going longer? Probably. Early on, what are we looking for? Where's Lone Rock? Where's Thomas Shelby? Where's Warriors Charge?
I think Lone Rock's somewhere fourth in behind the pace. I think Thomas Shelby is in front. Warriors Charge keeping him a little bit of company, and then we'll see how it shakes out.
Warriors Charge towards the outside. Title ready steps forward. Brian Hernandez. Warriors Charge in the 10-strike colors with Florent Giroux. Lone Rock the favorite. It is post time for the inaugural running of the Tinsel. Vic Stauffer standing by.
They're off. Thomas Shelby is asked for speed, but so is Huge Bigley with a tap of the whip, and these two go very fast early with 1 lap to go. Warriors Charge and Lone Rock are next, then Title Ready, followed by Beau Luminaire, and the early trailer is at the back of the pack, Tenfold. Huge Bigley wants the lead, and he gets it over Thomas Shelby. That is not easy to do, but he's in front by 1.5 lengths from Thomas Shelby in second. Warriors Charge just outside of Lone Rock. Those two eyeball the front runners and each other, 2.5 off the lead. Title Ready is placed 5th by Brian Hernandez with 4 lengths to make up. Beau Luminaire is just inside of him, and Tenfold is the trailer. 7 lengths first to last up the backstretch in the first Tinsel, and Huge Huge Bigley is still the leader from Thomas Shelby. Huge Bigley to the half-mile marker, 3/4 of a length to Thomas Shelby in second. Warrior's Charge is now a neck in front of Lone Rock. He's 2 from the front. Lone Rock 2.5 lengths off the lead. Title Ready has 4 lengths to make up. At the back of the pack are Tenfold and Beau Luminaire. Here's Thomas Shelby to make his move. Thomas Shelby, the new leader around the far turn. He is a half length in front of Huge Bigley. Lone Rock needs a way through. Warrior's Charge trying to keep him inside. Tenfold has joined Title Ready. Beau Luminaire the trailer. Thomas Shelby the leader at the top of the stretch. He'll have to fly there as stretch runners are coming, and one of them is Beau Luminaire, who splits horses. Warrior's Charge is there. Lone Rock dives to the inside. Thomas Shelby, Lone Rock, Beau Luminaire with a big run in the center of the racetrack. These three will decide it. Lone Rock's at the rail. Beau Luminaire, Thomas Shelby, Lone Rock, yes! The first tinsel goes to Lone Rock over Thomas Shelby. Diodoro 1-2, Beau Luminaire, and at the back of the pack was Tenfold.
The stablemates in a cutthroat duel to the wire. Thomas Shelby emerging with the lead. David Cohen, Lone Rock on the inside. Resolute would not be denied.
You have to love this horse, Lone Rock. He was in a kind of a tough spot, didn't get to use his stride until they straightened out, and he was able to duck to the inside and get a clear path. What a game racehorse. Check out the one horse at the start, Huge Bigley, Raylu Gutierrez. Think someone's intent on the lead? He actually put him in a full-out drive like he was coming to the wire for the second time, and basically sending a shout-out, a message to every other rider is, I'm going. You guys figure out what you want to do, but I'm going. Very rarely see a rider turn his crop over, leaving the gate, and put a horse to a drive like that.
We saw how well Thomas Shelby performed. It all compromised by Huge Bigley taking the lead from him early on. Did it make a difference in the end?
I really don't think so. I think he worked out a perfect trip. David Cohen really adjusted on the fly, adjusted well, and allowed Huge Bigley to take the lead. Used his horse when he needed to take the lead. And at the same time, Lone Rock's kind of in a compromising position inside of Warrior's Charge. But when he found that seam, he kept finding. This was a huge effort. I tell you, I'm a big fan of this horse. Big congratulations to the connections. Randy Hill, Flying P Stable, Jay Provenzano. I tell you what, the way he ran today, I can't wait to see him try some Grade 1 company between 1 1/8 and 1 1/4.
Diodoro said could be a springboard towards a Grade 1 event next year. Lone Rock, $40,000 claim, the $720K that he had earned coming in, and the winner's share of this $200,000 purse. The class that he showed in deep stretch, digging deep, holding off his stablemate Thomas Shelby. Lone Rock in the tinsel, and we'll wrap it all up when we come back. Also look ahead to the 9th at Oaklawn Park, and a look back at a hard-knocking warhorse indeed, and a former New York Stallion Series winner of the Great White Way. I know that guy.
Precocity.
Strategic speed. Some speed at 2, but can carry it on through their later careers.
Improbable, full of run.
Improbable, now a Grade 1 winner. It is a complete runaway, an authoritative run. It's Improbable to win the Whitney.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
And on the morning of the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need to create the noblest of all creatures. So God made a racehorse. He needed a horse that is faster, smarter, sleeker, and sounder, so God made a racehorse. He created an animal sound of wind with oversized nostrils to breathe fire like a dragon and turn oxygen into rocket fuel. He gave it a kind eye so his caretaker could look into his soul And then on the afternoon of the 8th day, God realized that he needed an animal that was even swifter, smarter, and sounder.
An animal that can compete on the world stage and win iconic races like at Royal Ascot.
So God created a legend. The legend lives on
At a Lapa.
Thrilling feature at Oaklawn. Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. Just saw the first running of the Tinsel and Lone Rock. Digging deep, holding off Thomas Shelby. Exciting, exciting finish here in the feature at Oaklawn.
I'm a big fan. I love horses that find ways to win, overcome adversity. He's just a really good horse regardless of the distance.
We love tough horses, which makes this next segment all the more fitting. Tough horses, that's what we're talking about here. Earlier today, we saw the Great White Way Stakes, the New York Stallion Series, continuing here. It was the 37th edition, some more memorable than others. For example, the 1996 edition, for some working on this show, Richard Migliori, the first Great White Way that comes to mind.
Say Florida Sandy, one of the most beloved New York breds of all time, captured the Great White Way in 1996 and was honored as the state's champion 2-year-old male at the end of the season.
It is Say Florida Sandy, Richard Migliori looking back for competition, but there will be none.
A star on the New York circuit for nearly his entire 8-year career, Say Florida Sandy won 19 stakes from 98 starts. The son of Personal Flag had several owners and trainers, but earned most of his $2 million bankroll for owner John Rotella. A 3-time New York champion sprinter and 2-time New York Horse of the Year, Say Florida Sandy also won the 2001 True North Handicap, the 2001 Bold Ruler Handicap, and the Gravesend Handicap in 1998 and 2000.
Say Florida Sandy wins the Gravesend Handicap.
He retired in 2003 with 33 wins. Say Florida Sandy entered stud in 2004 and was retired to old friends in 2014.
How special was he, Richie?
He was special. I like my horses the way I like my people. Honest and hardworking. He would show up, bring his lunch pail, go to work every time. And I got to ride him for a dear friend of mine, Sanford Bacon. His family helped develop South Beach, Collins Avenue. So he was known as Say Florida Sandy, and it was fun to watch him leading us in. How easy did he win this day? I mean, at least I didn't override him like I did long distance earlier, right?
A statue in the stirrups.
Take a look at a peek back there, and a little peek to the inside. So, we got this, and just let him gallop home. But he was really well bred. Personal Flag, private account stallion out of that Hoist the Flag mare, Grecian Banner, who was a Phipps stable horse. The mare Lolly, Lucky Lolly, also had Dancing Renee. I mean, she was a prolific kind of mare, but these are the kind of wins you like. Just kind of, you almost feel sad, bad about taking the money.
I highly doubt that. Checking the rearview mirror, nobody coming, no competition. How early on did you know that she was there anything that you were tipped off to that sitting on that kind of performance? How earlier in the race could you tell it was going to be that easy for you?
He was a horse that wasn't always handy out of the gate. He could be a little bit clumsy leaving the gate. Once he broke clean and established his position and got in the bridle, I kind of knew the race was over. And his trainer, Bobby Triola, did just a fantastic job. A guy who never got enough credit for developing him, as well as Dancing Renee.
2-year-olds running today had to be excited. They didn't have to deal with the likes of that guy on this afternoon with the New York Stallion Series continuing with the Great White Way. 2 races for 2-year-olds, each worth $500,000. The Great White Way, Gino about to strike the front, and Un Ojo, a long shot on the outside, putting in a menacing late run.
Yeah, Gino getting to the dirt for the first time by a Kentucky Derby winner in Big Brown. He hits the front here, and here comes Un Ojo, and it looked like he's going to go right by. Now, there was a little bit of contact. They came together. They brushed. I think it was a little bit of the outside horse stepping in and Gino maybe taking a little step out. They brushed. I really think the stewards made the right call, leaving it official. $500,000 race. They put on quite a show. I like the Stallion Stakes. It gives smaller breeders, people, an opportunity to, pay some bills, get some big purses.
Yeah, $500,000 purses here. About an hour later, the Fifth Avenue for the fillies, and Yo Cuz brought her A game. Pick up the action, turning for home. Yo Cuz emerging with the lead, traveling well. The favorite, that was the concern going in, how far back she would be early on.
Yeah, and she got a little too far back. Your favorite, Morning Matcha. Yo Cuz kicked away here. She really improved in her second start, learned the game, broke more alertly, was always in the bridle. First time out, she was a little bit lost. Big win for Dreammaker Stable. Tom Gallo, great group of people based up in Saratoga. He, to me, Tom Gallo doesn't get enough respect. He's the Rodney Dangerfield of partnerships, but always finds a good horse. Picked out a nice one here, and a filly they paid $125,000 for, and she earned roughly $300,000 today.
Big performance, victorious in the Fifth Avenue. Yo Cuz in the co-feature today at Aqueduct. 2 more stakes races tomorrow afternoon at the Big A. Live coverage right here on America's Day at the Races, and we'll recap the Tinsel moments ago from Oaklawn. Lone Rock, the $40,000 claimer, coming through once again, taking home the winner's share of that $200,000 purse. That's next, and one live race remains, the 10th and final from Oaklawn. Fifth Avenue earlier today, just too much. Yo Cuz in the end. We'll be right back.
Always been keen on the sons of Tappet. We've done well with him. He's broken out quite well. He's a beautiful mover, potentially a really nice 2-turn horse going forward. We're really kind of very fond of him.
We bought the Tappet filly out of the Blue Eyes and the Rain filly at the Keeneland sale. What we really liked about her was obviously her physique. We liked the way she moved, and we just fell in love with her from the start, really.
Tappet, standing at Gainesway.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. Through at Aqueduct, Oaklawn one left, 10th and final, the 9th race, the Tinsel Stakes, on this muddy track, and an absolute thriller. Came down to the stablemates, Lone Rock and Thomas Shelby. Thomas Shelby looked like he had the best of Lone Rock, and Lone Rock just kept digging and digging and digging.
He just kept finding. He had to wait for room. You see he's in a kind of a tough spot here inside of Warrior's Charge, and now he's looking for room. And when usually Big Lee fell away on the inside, it kind of opened up a spot on the rail. Now you see David Cohen's going to go down next to him, try to keep him a little bit intimidated, but he keeps finding. When you have a horse that strength is his stamina, and he has to be held up and wait to start using his stride, it's even more impressive that he was able to get it done because he was just really kind of getting his legs unfolded at that point. This was a huge effort. Loved the way he did it, loved the tenacity he showed, and I think just bodes well for whatever they decide to do going forward.
The versatility to excel regardless of distance. This one at 1 1/8 while he had been winning races at much farther distances and actually drawing away from Thomas Shelby late.
Well, again, he's a horse that, runs 1.5 miles, 1 5/8. So he hit the wire.
Just
He
getting
still
started.
had air. He still had legs under him. It's really fun to watch a young rider like Ramon Vasquez get a horse like this, and you can see the confidence that he has. It's amazing. You could see he just believes that this horse is going to get there. He's going to get me through whatever he needs to get me through.
If you're David Cohen, do you go back to the jocks room and are you frustrated, or you tip your cap and say he was best?
I think in hindsight, eventually you'll say he's best. In the heat of the moment, you're like, why didn't I guard the fence? Why didn't I keep him shut down? You got beat by the best horse, David. I know me, it would probably be bugging me until I watched the race several times and before I can reconcile with it.
Lone Rock in the inaugural running of the Tinsel at Oaklawn Park. 10th and final as we turn the page. Close it out with a 2-year-old maiden special weight event. $84,000 purse. See the field there. Updated odds. Scratch numbers 7 and 11. Quick to blame. Florent Giroux. Number 5, the favorite. 8-5. 10th and final coming up next from Oaklawn. Trainer Ron Moquette represented. Have more on that in just a moment. Has 7 flat towards the outside. Horses in the paddock. Riders up. 2-year-olds to close the show at Oaklawn.
Run Happy is the #1 second prop sire by stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future Pool 1 favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Backstretch workers are the backbone of the thoroughbred racing industry. Without them, racing would not be possible. The New York Racetrack Chaplaincy provides vital programs and services to all the workers and their families, like Sponsor a Family, the Food Pantry, as well as other recreational activities and events. You can help by visiting our website and donating today. Every dollar makes a difference to those who give everything to the sport that we love.
Red. Ready to go for a ride, buddy? I'm gonna miss you, Red.
Grayson Jockey Club Research Foundation provides the best equine research to treat the horses we love.
I missed you, old boy.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Oaklawn Racing in 66 days of racing this winter and spring. December racing, Oaklawn Park. Just saw the Tinsel, the feature. Now we close the show with 2-year-olds. Great to have you with us on America's Day at the Races. $84,000 purse in a post parade. Starting with the Calumet Colt by Mineshaft, there's Bon Bueno. 4-race maiden, Ricardo Santana rides.
Yeah, and last time he stumbled, lost Ricardo Santana. He's got foundation. Big and very important going along for 2-year-olds.
Short leaf colors there. Mountain Pine off the board in his debut.
Yeah, stretching out. Should appreciate that, but is going to have to improve vastly.
Coastal Chaos. Blinkers Lasix today.
Kind of gets the makeover. Is that going to make the difference? He's going to have to improve as well.
Number 4, Call Me Jamal. 4th in his first pair, both at Churchill.
Yeah, and stretches out like the progression. 6.5, 7, now to a mile. C.G. Ivan Franko's got his silks out. We'll talk about that after the post parade.
Blame had a winner earlier with Mucho, the sire of Quick to Blame.
This horse took money first time, gets Florent Drew. Brad Cox ran well on debut as well.
The road and trainer D. Wayne Lucas. Lucas looking for a second win this afternoon.
Horse improved from first start to second start. Wayne's horses do improve with racing.
Scratch number 7, Curly Tail, Group 18 will enter the picture in a moment. A 3-race maiden, best finish to date, a 3rd-place finish last out.
And going from maiden claiming races to maiden special or maiden allowance, it's kind of going in a tougher direction.
Jim and Jim second at 72-1 in his most recent.
Yeah, certainly finally kind of delivered a race that, showed some ability, but another one stepping up in company again.
Mystical Curlin is out, number 11, 7 flat. David Cabrera.
Horse from 6.5 to a mile, improved, could improve again. Addition of blinkers and Lasix as well, kind of the makeover.
Number 12, Chileno, gun runner colt for Steve Asmussen.
Definitely a player, has a lot of foundation, 6 starts, been 2 turns, but he does have a tough draw.
Ramon Vasquez looking to go back-to-back fully connected, draws in.
Yeah, horse that had the 1 sprint, another one with a tough kind of draw. What kind of trip does he work out from out there?
Maximum Impact draws in.
Another one, 2 sprints, adds blinkers for the stretch out and gets a tough draw. I don't like these outside posts, especially with young horses going 2 turns.
Relatively short run into that first turn. 2-year-olds in this mile and a 16th affair with an $84,000 purse. As always, we invite you to join us at Naira Bets. You play all the action on our program and more while earning up to a $200 deposit match bonus. New members use that promo code BONUS200 when signing up and earn up to a $200 deposit match after your first deposit. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Join now at NairaBets.com to earn your $200 deposit match. One left on the show. These 2-year-olds at Oaklawn. And the favorite, Quick to Blame. Blame colt at 9-5 for Brad Cox. Florent Giroux to ride. Gun runner represented as well. He's sire of Chileno. We've seen what he's done as a stallion thus far as a racehorse. Breeders' Cup Classic en route to a Horse of the Year. He was an absolute machine during his 4-year-old season and the 1 start we saw him at 5.
Gem of consistency, just ran every time. It's so hard for a horse to hold their form over that elongated period of time. Credit to the horse, his constitution, his ability. Credit to his trainer, Steve Asmussen, to be able to keep him in that form. And Florent Drew just delivered 1 perfect ride after another.
What a campaign. Incredible campaign. Chileno pictured sired by Gun Runner, one of the hottest sires in the business. Incredible with his young horses, the talent, the precocity. Chileno here, and the son of Gun Runner out to try to graduate in this 10th and final at Oaklawn.
He's going to have to make use of his speed. I mean, from that post, he needs to clear at least several horses to not be too wide.
Some of the 2-year-old winners, Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly, the champion, Echo Zulu by Gun Runner, Best Pal out in California, Papa Cap, Grade 1 Hopeful, Gunite, Adirondack, Wicked Halo. Just an incredible season as a sire for Gun Runner, how good his 2-year-olds have been and what they've accomplished.
Well, to have a champion in your first crop, I mean, that's kind of all you really need to know right there. He threw a champion in his first crop.
Check in with Gary at Oaklawn.
Yeah, guys, what Gun Runner has done in his first season as a sire is simply incredible, and I look forward to seeing his prodigy next year. But he had 115 foals in his first crop, 55 runners, 23 winners out of those 55 horses, earning an average per starter $71,000 per starter, $4 million, almost $4 million in earnings from those 23 winners, with Echo Zulu leading the pack with over $1.5 million in earnings. So the future is bright for Gun Runner, guys.
It's unreal, and we'll see what this Gun Runner colt does. Chileno in this 10th and final at Oaklawn, currently 5-1. 1 left at Oaklawn. Jonathan, what'd you come up with here?
Well, I think 2 horses are alive in here. I'm going to start with the 5, Quick to Blame. That'll be my top choice in here. It's a horse that debuted at Churchill in November. They were going that 1-turn mile, and Richie can elaborate when we get back to him about this. But I always felt like, I feel like the 1-turn mile is more taxing from a stamina standpoint because you don't get to slow down going into the first turn. You're running along that entire stretch. So in his first start, not only did Quick to Blame go that flat mile, which I believe is more taxing, he was wide all the way around there. So he really went like a flat mile and like a mile, mile and a 16th really, of very, very taxing first race. He gets Lasix today. He should improve second off of that effort. He took a lot of money that day, and the pace he was chasing was pretty quick as well. I think he's a very likely winner of this race. And then the 12, Chelino, towards the outside. I agree, not the best draw, especially with a kind of a shorter run into that first turn. If he can somehow get over, tuck in, and find some position, he does have the foundation that I think could come in handy when they turn for home.
Well, I agree. And everything Jonathan just said about starting at a one-turn mile, because it's run more towards a sprint race. Not quite like a 6-furlong race, but the tendency is that the pace is going to be a little bit quicker, and it doesn't moderate in the middle of the race as much because you've got a long run down the backstretch. They build momentum. 2-turn race, you jump out of the gate, you run to the first turn, and the tempo moderates. So they may go 23 and change. The next quarter, they'll go 24 and change, as opposed to a one-turn mile. They went 23, 46, and 1. That's basically 23, 23, and 1. You're running pretty much the entire race, so very difficult race to debut at. And he ran very well. I mean, he was only beaten 3.5 lengths. Ran terrific. I go back to Chelino. I think is definitely a contender. Just the post works against him. What about Bon Bueno? Put a line through his last race because he lost his rider at the start. Look back through his form. Second start, going a mile and 16th to Churchill. This is a name called Rattle and Roll, who is a very, very promising 2-year-old that I think is going to be a major player heading on the Triple Crown Trail this year. I think Bon Bueno is a big player at a big price from a good post.
Santana pedal to the metal from the rail?
Well, I think he's going to come out running, and then if some of these horses stretching from sprints go, at least he's got his forward position.
Quick to blame, Florent, what do you expect him to do on the favorite?
Well, Florent is aggressive. I haven't really been impressed, and even in high-profile situations, how Florent will take charge of a race. He's not victimized often, so you can count on him getting his position going forward. I don't think he'll make the lead in here, but he's going to be well placed.
And towards the outside, Chelena with Ramon Vasquez, marooned from that post. What do you think would be a successful start from him going into the first turn?
Get your position going forward, break clean, get forward position, and hope you're not more than 3 wide into the first turn. If he can get down to where
Which is going to be a challenge.
Absolutely. But if he's 3 wide, he's done his job. If he's 2 wide, he's done a great job. And if he's even closer to the rail than that, well, hats off.
Chelena towards the outside, the Gunrunner Colt, the purse money we've discussed here at Oaklawn. You had a sprint race, the 8th, a $120,000 purse. We just saw the $200,000 inaugural running of the Tinsel, this maiden race, $84,000. Oaklawn now the most lucrative winter racing in North America. It's incredible. It's
fantastic. And just the way everybody converges on hot springs from all these jurisdictions, from Remington Park and as far as, New York and California, it's incredible to see Kentucky. They're just the confluence of outfits and horses, jockeys, trainers. And it's a great town. It's got a feel of Saratoga, the history there. You go out, what's the conversation in the restaurant? What happened that afternoon in racing, and what's going to happen tomorrow in racing?
Call it the Saratoga at the South Oaklawn Racing Casino Resort. And for the final event on this Saturday afternoon, the 2-year-olds have reached the starting gate, and this is always part of the race as well. Light and experience, many of these, the 2-year-olds, how they will behave in the load process, how long they have to start, and how long they'll stay nice and settled before they spring the latch.
Some horses are like people. They're a little claustrophobic. You put them in the starting gate, it's a confined space. They're only going to handle it for so long before they start letting you know, hey, I'm not crazy about this. And when a 1,000-pound animal starts to tell you he's not crazy about something, be careful.
And it's a bigger field. Everyone minding their manners for now. Fingers crossed. 2-year-olds here in the 10th at Oaklawn. Maiden special weights. The favorite, Quick to Blame for Brad Cox. Florent Giroux, several wins over the last couple of days. And with 2-year-olds, see if they can get another with Quick to Blame, the favorite. In the 10th and final from Oaklawn. One final time. Here's Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Comey Jamal and Fully Connected break well. Quick to Blame is between horses. Coastal Chaos is hard sent. Group 18 is next, then 7 flat. Jim and Jim, Bon Bueno, and Mountain Pine. Ethereal Road has 2 beat. They are Maximum Impact and Chileno. To the backstretch with Call Me Jamal just in front of Quick to Blame, who's tugging and wants to go up to challenge. Call Me Jamal a length in front. Quick to Blame is second 3/4 of a length to Coastal Chaos at the rail. Then comes Fully Connected, 7 flat in Group 18. They're all 3 from the front. Bon Bueno is at the rail with 4 lengths to make up. Then comes Ethereal Road, Maximum Impact, and a Chileno. Mountain Pine is second to last, and the trailer is Jim and Jim, 6 lengths first to last. Call Me Jamal to the half-mile pole in charge. Call Me Jamal leads by a length and a half from Quick to Blame in second. Coastal Chaos is right there at the rail in third. Group 18 and 7 flat, together 4th and 5th. Then 2 back to Fully Connected. Bon Bueno and Ethereal Road are next, and they round the far turn. Call Me Jamal trying to go all the way around in front, and looks good doing it right now from Quick to Blame, who's asked to go after her in second. Call Me Jamal leads by a length and a half. Quick to Blame fully all in second. Coastal Chaos is third. 4 lengths further back to Maximum Impact, who's just taken fourth. Call Me Jamal and Quick to Blame. Call Me Jamal, final furlong. Still a length in front of Quick to Blame, who's trying to attack. It's down to these 2, and it's going to be a good one. Call Me Jamal, Quick to Blame to the outside, and they are far in front. Quick to Blame, Call Me Jamal, Quick to Blame inching just clear. Call Me Jamal tries to come back. Call Me Jamal has come back to win. Oh my goodness. She beat Quick to Blame in a thriller. Ethereal Road finished third.
A thriller in the 10th and final. Quick to Blame puts a head, maybe a neck in front. Call Me Jamal on the inside having none of it.
These 2 horses put on quite a show. You've got the 4 Call Me Jamal, the Malibu Moon, gelding on the inside under Giovanni Franco, looking for his 3rd win of the day. And I think he had his nose down on the line first. Quick to Blame under a very long drive from Florent Giroux, and they opened up about 10 or 12 lengths on the field. They just left the field. They were having their own match race, and it looked at one point like Quick to Blame was going to get the measure of the 4 Call Me Jamal under strong handling from Giovanni Franco. Man, he battled back. What a good horse race. And man, Giovanni Franco reminded me of a rider I used to ride with, a guy named Gary Stevens.
Gary Stevens, a Hall of Famer. His agent, Giovanni Franco, 2 wins earlier, and he said we should have had a 3rd. He may have just earned that 3rd, maybe. Waiting the results of the photo, Quick to Blame outside Florent Giroux. Call Me Jamal on the inside. Was that Quick to Blame hitting the front thinking his job was done, or Call Me Jamal just digging in?
Watching that isolated replay there, you got to look at Call Me Jamal's eye, and he's looking squarely at Quick to Blame like, no. You're not beating me. I'm the herd leader today. His eye looked like so intense at him. I do not think Quick to Blame hung. He was under a long, extended, hard drive by Florent Giroux. This was just a very game Call Me Jamal, who did not want to be passed. Wow, this is what horse racing's about. When 2 good horses throw it down like that.
Isn't that what you call the evil eye? The Monomoy girl, evil eye?
He gave him a look. You can see it. And I think maybe because of the way the light was, you could actually almost see the light reflect off his eye. I look at things like that. I pick up little things like that about horses, the way they move their feet, the way they... This was a tremendous performance. I tell you what, both horses ran too good to lose.
They have not posted it. They're showing Call Me Jamal, awaiting the results of the photo in this thriller amongst these 2-year-olds in the 10th at Oaklawn. Now it is posted. Call Me Jamal. Call Me Jamal by a flared nostril over Quick to Blame. Mark DiDomenico, Mike Puich, Giovanni Franco, 3 wins on the afternoon. Congrats to the team and Gary Stevens.
Well, welcome to Hot Springs, Arkansas, Giovanni Franco. And this is how you get people's attention. You've got the right agent, a guy who has connections, but now you've got to get yourself to the winner's circle. Congratulations to Giovanni, Gary Stevens, and all the connections of the horses.
Same time, same place tomorrow?
I'll be here.
See you right here, Mig. For Richard Migliore, Gary Stevens, Jonathan Kinchin, Maggie Wolfendale, I'm Lafitte Pinkai. Great day of thoroughbred racing. How about Gino in the Great White Way in the first division of the New York Stallion Series? The girls division, Fifth Avenue, just too much. Hey, cuz, in the end, and that rags to riches story, how about Lone Rock, the former $40,000 claimer. Jose Ortiz had 3 wins, by the way. Lone Rock in the Tinsel, turning back his stablemate Thomas Shelby to win the inaugural Tinsel at Oaklawn. We'll see you tomorrow.